Hi guys, Veggie Gamer back, and I've gone blue today. Oh, my lights aren't on, balls! And we're back to covering the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets chapters. Veggie Nights. Ah! How are you? What an intro! What an intro! I nearly broke my leg. Right, I haven't been in bed either. Damn it. Okay, so how are you today? I've actually got several things to do in the intro before we get started. And I'm having to do this as well. Okay, right. First, hello. How are you? How are you all, guys? That is probably the least professional intro I've ever done in my life, and I'm exhausted already. Right. First of all, thank you very much for your birthday wishes, guys. It was my birthday a few days ago. And one thing that I got for it, I gotta show you this, guys, because it's pretty cool. I'd imagine that a lot of you Harry Potter fans already know this, but to me, this is incredible. And so, here we go. I've got this little mug saying, which house are you in? I'm out of breath. Which house are you in? And you can see that that's it. No other design on it or anything. Until you put some hot water inside it. I'm saying this like it's brand new, guys. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this, but so I'm going to put some hot water in it now. There we go. Say the magic word, alphabet spaghetti. And hopefully something will happen. Remember, it's completely black on the other side. And hopefully something will happen. Oh, it's happening! It's happening! And not only is it turning yellow, it's also got the shield on the other side. I think this is incredible, guys. I don't even understand how this works. It's not machine washable. You had to wash it by hand. A little bit more just so we get to the top of the shield. I'm pouring water all over my desk. This is the worst intro I've ever done in my life. Look how cool that is, though. And you got the words that represent the house as well. Loyalty, dedication, patience, hard-working, fair and true, and best at Quidditch as well, which we will be getting into in these chapters, surprisingly. Well, actually not surprisingly, but we will be getting into in these chapters. But I just thought I'd show you that, guys. I had to start the video off with this before anything else, just because my hot water was going to get cold if I didn't, because you know how much I waffle on. I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely amazing, and so I'll be using that hopefully in future videos. Today I'm actually on the water though. Not hot water either. So yes, I thought that's awesome. Either way, let's move this all out of the way now. I've poured water all over my mouse mat. This is amazing. So of course the thing which I had to, I would be remiss to not mention it, if that's the correct term, is of course the very sad passing of Robbie Coltrane, guys. I think I was on this faster than even I expected, because when I posted my little blurb about him and the fact that he died, I did get several comments saying that this is the first they've heard of it. I'll say this now. Thank you so much for the comments that you guys put into this, guys. They were absolutely beautiful. They were wonderful to read. Just how much this character and Robbie Coltrane's portrayal of this character mean to you guys is just beautiful. Seriously, I recommend. I find these comments uplifting. I actually do. They made processing Robbie Coltrane's death easier. I guess it's probably the better way of putting it. But yeah, if you haven't already, I highly recommend going to my community page and just reading through the comments. I do a little blurb here, and as I think I've mentioned before, in fact, I know I've mentioned before, guys, Robbie Coltrane to me, even though Hagrid was such an amazing performance, a performance of a lifetime, he was just perfect as Hagrid, and one, I could never imagine anyone else ever playing Hagrid, but two, I did have a 2. Oh no, what was it? That's right. When I do these book reviews, guys, particularly with Snape, a lot of people say do not think of Alan Rickman, which is tough, guys. It is tough. I would never be able to think of Hagrid without Robbie Coltrane's face. You know what I mean? And so, but even that being said, there is a British TV show. I mean, the thing is, Robbie Coltrane has been around since, he's been appearing on TV shows all my life. There is a very good comedy series starring Rick Mayall, in fact, called The Young Ones, where he appears on it. That was in the very early 80s when he was in that. He was in Blackadder several times as well. Did a lot of comedy stuff, like the comic strip as well. A lot of comedy stuff that he was in earlier on, but then he did go into more serious acting. And I will always know him best as what's his Fitzgerald? Is that his name? No, not Fitzgerald. I can't remember his surname. Basically, Fitz from the TV show Cracker. Which he is unbelievably good in it, guys. He's like a criminal psychologist who's being brought in by the police to help them solve certain cases. There is one in particular which actually was trending on the day that we found out about Robbie Coltrane dying, called To Be Somebody, which was it was a big moment in British television, at least for me, anyway, where it starred Robert Carlyle as villain. Yeah, I think it's fair to say villain. It's definitely fair to say villain. Robert Carlyle as someone who's been traumatized from the events of Hillsborough in '93. I think it was 93. It was early 90s, I think, where basically, unfortunately, I guess a lot of you people don't know about the Hillsborough disaster, guys, but it was at a football match where basically people were getting trampled on and crushed because of numerous things. I'm not going to go into it here. And there's still inquiries about how the police allowed it to happen and what was reported at the time, which was horrendous. And how it affected Liverpool in general, and how it affected a lot of people's mindset and everything. I'm really waffling on. But basically, it's about that, and it's about this criminal who is using that as an excuse to do these terrible things. And Fitz, played by Robbie Coltrane, basically dismantling that, and it's fantastic, guys. It's not for kids, I'll say that. It's certainly not for kids, but To Be Somebody, Cracker as a TV show in general is fantastic. To Be Somebody, it's just by far the best Cracker episode. I think it's a 3-parter, in fact. And Robbie Coltrane playing across from Robert Carlyle, both fantastic actors. It's so good. It's so good. And so I will always see Robbie Coltrane as Fitz first, Hagrid second, but that is nothing to take away from its unbelievable performance. And I think I said it in this blurb, that even though Hagrid isn't the character which I go to straight away when I think of Robbie Coltrane, the fact that Robbie Coltrane has this character that is so well beloved, I'm so happy for him that he will, like he poetically said just a year ago in the 20th anniversary, the fact that he won't always be around, but Hagrid will. Just beautiful. So, like I say, guys, if you haven't read these comments already, I recommend going to my community page, finding the posts on there, and just reading through them. I think they're bloody beautiful. Seriously, really, very, very sweet. So thank you to everyone who was able to leave a comment. Make sure they're all liked, Veggie. They made processing his passing a lot more dealable. So I thank you very much for everyone who took part in that post. I'm sorry for the tangent, guys. You may be able to tell that episode of Cracker is actually quite an important thing for me. But Cracker, they're all starring Robert Coltrane. He is like the main character in Cracker in general. And so if you're into your crime dramas, I think it's well worth it. I think it is well worth it. It is from the 90s, but I think it's still well worth it anyway. So, R.I.P. Robert Coltrane, you will be sorely missed. One thing I should say just before we get started, guys, is that these book clubs, these book reviews, sorry, are posted on the Patreon first, and so they appear. We're always like a couple of episodes ahead on the Patreon, and so if you're up to date on YouTube, you can sign up to the Patreon for as little as you want, and get access to all the book reviews that we've done, including all of my full-length reactions as well. There's no tiers, and so you pay as little as you want and get access to everything that is on the Patreon. You also get the option of the chance to be in the Harry Potter book club, which is something that we do at the end of these videos, where after going through my own review of these chapters, I then go in and read your comments about the chapters as well. It's always so much fun, guys. Like I say, it's always at the tail end of the video, and so if you've got any thoughts or questions or opinions on these chapters, then you can go and check out the Patreon and be a part of these videos as well, because I'll be reading out your name and so on and so forth. If you can't afford it, don't worry, guys. You can always just leave a comment on the YouTube page, and I will still have read it. But if you want to get your comment read out actually in the video, then there is that as an option. So it's there if you want it. Okay, so in light news, Raider Max, who you do sometimes see in the Harry Potter book club commenting, is on Twitter, guys. He's also the person that does my my summaries, which hugely helps me with these videos. I'm so sorry about how long this has been since the last book review, guys. October is a very busy month for me now, but all that's out of the way, and so I will endeavour to get you the next one faster than this has been since the last one, because it has been too long again. But like I say, with my birthday month and everything, it's always absolutely hectic. My birthday is always one of the most stressful times of the year for me. Go figure. But he posted this on Twitter a little while ago. Take a Harry Potter quote and replace one of the words with sausage. And he's got, Harry, did you put the sausage in the goblet of fire? Which is fantastic. Also, Dumbledore said calmly, so it's book version, not movie version. Excellent, excellent. And I had to go myself. Mine it's not a cheat, but I got it kind of wrong. So mine was sausages will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask, which to me is just like a really funny visual. I got it, like I said though. I did kind of. It's not completely kosher because the quote actually is, "Help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it." So for it would make it make no sense at all. But I really like sausages will always be given at Hogwarts. And also Raider Max has got Gilderoy Lockhart, Order of Merlin, 3rd class, honorary member of the Dark Force Defense League, and a 5-time winner of Witch Weekly's Most Charming Sausage Award. And so, I think he actually suggested it. Actually, I'm sure he did. Yeah, there we go. He actually did suggest like that we do it in the book club. And so, guys, if you can think of any other ones, and it doesn't have to be from Chamber of Secrets. Mine just, in fact, so did his. But mine just happened to be from Chamber of Secrets, probably because it's in the chapters that we're covering today. If you can think of any other good ones, please do let me know in the comments. It'd be greatly appreciated, and I can't wait to see. Let's think of another one real quickly. I've done my waiting in sausage. Doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a good one from that scene. He's in this sausage? No. Your sausage. Where did you say? You're a rat. Ignore me. Let me just leave them in the comments, guys. Can't wait to read them. Now let's get on to the book review. Chapter... oh no. It's Cornelius Fudge, so it'll be 13, 14, 13. Chapter 13, Cornelius Fudge. So like I say, thanks again, Max, for doing these blurbs for the chapters. Here's the description for Cornelius Fudge. The trio discussed the events Harry saw and whether or not to believe Hagrid did it, ultimately deciding to confront him if there is another attack. Over Easter holiday, they start to talk about the next year's classes. they will be taking. Learning how much it affects his future, Harry is confused because after living with muggles his whole life, he has no idea what life as an adult wizard will be like, or is like. On the way to the Quidditch practice, which is needed as they face the mighty Hufflepuff Badgers, Harry runs into Neville, who frantically tells him that something has happened. He finds his room has been torn apart and the diary missing, leaving them to question who did it, since only Gryffindors knew the password to get into the common room. The day of the game, Harry hears the voice again, but can't understand why Ron and Hermione don't. But Hermione gets an idea and runs off. I apologise about my reading, guys. As the team takes to the field, they are interrupted by Professor McGonagall, stating the match has been cancelled. Freaking a lucky break for Gryffindor. She then tells all students report to their common rooms, but tells Ron and Harry to go to the hospital wing. There they see Hermione and a Ravenclaw prefect had been petrified, but with mirrors near them. McGonagall then takes them back to the common room and tells all Gryffindors that there are new security rules in place. Harry and Ron then decide it's time to talk with Hagrid and head to his hut under the invisibility cloak. A nervous Hagrid invites them in, but before anything can really be said, there is another knock at the door. Under the cloak, Harry sees Dumbledore and the Minister of Magic enter the hut, where he tells Hagrid he must be taken to prison, even though Dumbledore believes Hagrid is innocent. After another knock, Lucius Malfoy enters, stating that the governors are suspending Dumbledore. Dumbledore states he only really leaves the school if none are loyal to him, and that Hogwarts will always give help to those who ask for it, not sausages. With his last statement being directed at Harry and Ron as they then leave. Hagrid also leaves, but says if someone wants to find something, to follow the spiders. Oh yeah, and to feed Fang. Yes, he does. Actually, this is interesting because in the movie, I always assumed that he was saying that to Fudge, but no, he's actually saying it to Ron and Harry, which is, yeah. I mean, I don't know who would be doing it. I guess Filch. I don't know if he's a cat person, so I don't know if that would be a good idea. But yes, so that's the blurb for it. Thank you very much again, Max. So yes, we hear about Fluffy and Norbert right at the start of this, guys, which is really, really nice, especially Norbert, because I easily forget that Norbert was even a thing in Philosopher's Stone. But they talk about how Hagrid has, like, a running... It's a bit of a meme with Hagrid that he has all these really dangerous animals and doesn't appreciate, how dangerous they can actually be. And so it's really nice to hear about Norbert. I do wonder what's happened to Fluffy. Is he still there? Has he been given someone else? Has freaking, was it Bill or Charlie? Has he taken them away somewhere? I don't know. But yeah, I'd like a Fluffy update. Maybe we'll get that in the next Harry Potter movie? No, hang on. Fantastic Beasts are prequels, aren't they? Okay, so it's unlikely we're going to be hearing about Fluffy. Maybe it'll be covered in the books. There we go. So yeah, Ron and Hermione keep on asking Harry about exactly what happened, like asking for details about what Harry saw in the dream sequence. I do wonder why they're not asking Tom more questions, but at this point they're taking what Tom's saying as gospel, and so maybe they don't feel like they need to ask any more questions. But yeah, I mean, you could keep on writing in it, and because this is days that are going past in these parts of the chapters, guys, and so there's definitely time for him to be asked more questions, or for as long as that lasts, anyway. We get Ron remarking about how Tom kind of sounds like Percy. I think he says that he definitely does sound like Percy, which I guess is kind of true. I guess that Ron does seem to really have it in for Percy. There's a strange bit with Percy coming up, guys, which we need to discuss. I'm sure he loves him as a brother, but he's definitely the brother which I guess because Ron sees the position that Percy is in as being unassailable. You know, Ron could never get to that high, you know, rank, and obviously with his, you know, his whole story arc is how he feels about his family being so so successful and everything. So I thought that was an interesting line, that even then he's remarking that Riddle is like Percy. No, yeah, no. I think we were discussing this last time, where in my head canon, the whole reason why Riddle did what he did, maybe it's because the whole orphanage thing isn't covered in the movie or Chamber of Secrets, and so maybe that order that I've covered these has affected what I think. But I feel like Riddle does that with you know, sets up Hagrid, so he can keep on manipulating things at Hogwarts. He doesn't have to go home from there. But you guys are really saying it could legit straight up be the fact that he hates the orphanage so much that he finds it terrifying to go back there. And so maybe that's it. Maybe it's also because Voldemort is the villain, and I'm not giving his side of the story enough, because I just see him as, I see Voldemort as more a monster than a person. And so maybe that's the reasoning why I'm thinking that the reason why he doesn't want to go back to the orphanage is because he's pulling strings at Hogwarts. Or maybe it is legit, he doesn't want to go back to the orphanage because he's a kid and he finds that place horrifying. So maybe that is it. So that was really interesting discussion that we had, I think in the last book review, where we discussed that. Ron asks Harry about meeting Hagrid in Diagon Alley. We got this line, and I didn't think this line was in the movie, where Hermione says that we need to go speak with Hagrid about it now and not wait for the next attack. And Ron says, "Oh, hi Hagrid, have you been setting any anything mad and hairy loose around the castle lately?" Now that line is in the movie, but in the movie, as soon as he says it, Hagrid basically appears from behind and says, "Oh, you're talking about me?" And like all three of them go, "No." And even then, Hagrid, you know, with his childish nature and everything, even thinks, "Hang on, something's up here." I think that maybe he thought that they were talking about him, as in the mad and hairy part. But yeah, that straight up does not happen. And obviously then in the movie, Neville then comes in at that point. So it's cutting down, you know, keeping things flowing and everything. I do think that this chapter in general is done pretty well in the movie, but there's certainly bits that the book really flesh out a lot more. So we pop forward to Herbology, guys, and Ernie, who I freaking love Ernie, guys, and I've only just met him, but which is ridiculous. He's already being really polite to Harry. Now, this is whilst he still thinks that Harry could potentially be the heir of Slytherin, but he's being polite anyway, which is just so Hufflepuff. I love that. It could be because he's scared of him, but I honestly don't think it is. I don't think that it is because he's scared of him. I think that he's just because he's been brought up right. That's probably a bad way of putting it, but I feel like he's just a very nice character. So yeah, but I think the Mandrakes the Mandrakes like trying to get into each other's pots and throwing parties as well, which is amazing. That would have been a nice scene in the movie. Yeah, I think it is. Well, it's Sprout in the book that says about once that acne gets cleared up, then we can start chopping them up and everything. In the movie, it's Hagrid. I would have liked more Sprout in the movie, guys, but quite frankly, there's so many characters in Chamber of Secrets. I can understand trying to limit the side characters a bit, just so we can focus more on the more important characters. So that's a fine change, absolutely. Yeah, choosing subjects for the third year, guys. And that's interesting because, obviously I know because of Prisoner of Azkaban that Hermione is basically choosing, you know, literal classes which clash with each other and so on. But yes, we actually have Ron, Harry, and Hermione choosing which classes that they want to go to. Apparently, Dean Thomas is literally just taking completely random, which is bizarre to me, guys. If you're Muggle-born, which Dean Thomas is definitely Muggle-born, isn't he? He's not half or anything. I'm sure he would be. I think that at this point, a year and a half in, you would be so still amazed by Hogwarts that you'd be absolutely really choosing your lessons really, really careful. But even Harry just ends up choosing the ones that Ron's going to, just so he'll have someone, you know, friendly to study with and help him if he needs it, if he asks. But yes, Dean Thomas just choosing at random is... come on, Dean. Come on, Dean. Neville apparently is getting a whole bunch of advice from his family members and everything, because obviously, you know, his family's a big deal. The Longbottoms. In the Potterverse, and so it's really nice that he has them all in his ear. I'm sure that he's frustrated enough of it, but, you know, he's a good kid. He's a good kid. Percy giving Harry advice about what lessons to take. He says Muggle studies is an easy option and that Harry should play to his strengths. I'm amazed that Muggles are even not people with Muggle family, I should say. Who living Muggle lives, because obviously Harry did have magical parents, but living in a Muggle society wouldn't be allowed to take Muggle studies, because it's going to be really, really basic things. It's like Arthur, like, you know, freaking out about, you know, telephone systems and stuff like that, and, like, you know, the car and all that sort of thing. It's going to be very, very easy for Harry to pass that, you would imagine. So, and, you know, he's not the only one. Like I say, Dean Thomas, it would make sense to choose Muggle studies, I guess. But the gap between Wizarding folk and Muggle folk who are taking that lessons, it almost had to be two separate classes, right? I don't know. Seems bizarre that people who have been brought up with Muggles would be allowed to take Muggle studies, quite frankly, in my opinion, anyway. So yeah, it's really nice having Percy helping out Harry and everything. I really like Percy, guys. I think he's such a great addition. His stuff in the book is so good. I'm sure that I'm not going to like him all the way through, especially later on in Order of Phoenix and stuff like that. But at the moment, I always really like his stuff. Percy suggests to someone... Oh yes, yeah, that's just my note about the fact that it's strange that someone who lives with Muggles, you know, being suggested to take Muggle studies. So yes, Hufflepuff game, guys, and so I believe that EA's off to his training, and then Neville then comes in and says about Harry's room being ransacked. Or doesn't say, he just says, "Come quick, I don't know who's done it." Dean's there as well, and it says that Dean swore loudly, which is the first time we got swearing, guys, if you don't count Git. But later on we get another bit of swearing as well. But yes, the diary has gone, guys. I think that in the last... in a previous book club, I stupidly said about how in my headcanon, I assumed that there would be some sort of force field, meaning that the girls can only go to the girls' dormitory and the boys can only go to the boys' dormitory. But obviously, this is Ginny who's doing this, I believe, isn't it? As I remember, and also Hermione's there as well. And so God knows where I came up with that, guys. Obviously, I think that sometimes you just fill in blanks, and that was like something which is completely inaccurate that I filled in with. It says how Harry doesn't want to report the theft because it might stir up old grudges against Hagrid and everything, which is a very interesting line. This is the first time that it really gives Hagrid a reason for being Gryffindor in my sense, guys, because obviously a lot of people, and it's not just me. I think that I said in like it was like Goblet of Fire. Surely Hufflepuff. Surely Hagrid must be Hufflepuff. Obviously, you find out that very in the books he is not. That he is Gryffindor, and this really gives almost a reason for Hagrid to be Gryffindor in a sense, because presumably Hagrid would be able to get in there if he... Oh. Who would have given him the password though? Because he has no work in there, does he? He's a groundsman. You'd imagine Filch would have to have all the passwords. That's interesting. That's interesting. Do we know if Filch's parents were Slytherin? That's interesting. I'd love to know more about Filch's parents. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Hagrid would be able to get... I don't think that Hagrid would be given a password. Why would he be given a password? He has literally no work in there at all. So, yeah. But Filch would actually legit have to have all the passwords. Maybe all the teachers have the passwords just for security reasons. Like, if McGonagall goes down, you still had to have people being able to get into... Oh, Dumbledore would be able to get into there. Yeah, I'd imagine all the teachers would have access. To all the dormitories. But let me know your thoughts on that. A doobie doobie quack quack. So they're off towards the game against the Hufflepuffs, which I'd forgotten about, guys. This is in the movie. It's a very brief scene, because everyone's a lot more annoyed in the book about the game getting called off, especially Wood. But there is a scene where like they're walking out and McGonagall's like, nah, cancelled, sorry. In the book, she's got like a massive purple megaphone, which sounds amazing. I do wonder why she doesn't just do the old wand trick that Cornelius does at the start of Goblet of Fire, which I thought was cool. I thought it was really, really cool, but no, here McGonagall's got like a massive purple megaphone, which would have been amazing to be in the movie. It didn't make the cut, unfortunately. She takes Harry with him, and Ron joins in as well. And then we get another freaking denied Ravenclaw, guys. What's going on with these movies? Seriously, I mean, I know the books don't have that much Ravenclaw action either. But my goodness, why not just have the prefect there with Hermione? I know the answer to that, because it takes the shine off Hermione. That moment in the movie is like, oh, what? Like a gut punch. Like, oh no, it's terrible. And so that would be filtered down a little bit with, yeah, this person as well. No, it's the same girl who Ron and Harry had approached asking about the Slytherin common rooms. Coincidentally enough, we do get her name, Penelope something, I'm pretty sure. It'll be in my notes. We'll carry on. But she has a mirror as well. That's cool. Ravenclaws get no respect in the movies, do they, guys? They really don't. And when I first heard of all the names, I remember thinking, okay, Ravenclaw sounds badass. I'd imagine that's going to be significant. They're the least significant, even more than Hufflepuff, guys. It's a shame. I can understand why they would have it just be Hermione in that moment, because it is more of a devastating moment if it's just one person, you know, in a weird way. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yes. So yeah, curfews and teacher escorts have been put in place at Hogwarts. Even if you need to go to the bathroom, the teacher needs to escort you there as well. This scene where McGonagall is talking to the common room, Gryffindor common room, it is in the movie, guys. But it's really good in the book. It's one of the few times where I've literally, one of my notes is, this is a really good scene. It's good in the movie, but it's just so much better. And you have people talking, not talking back to McGonagall, but like adding things in, like challenging what she's saying and everything. Quidditch has been cancelled now. McGonagall does get real with the shit and says that the school could be shut if this continues, which is a line in the movie. It says that she climbs through the portrait hole. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and I probably am. I swear to God that, because we see a proper portrait hole in Deathly Hallows Part 2, where Neville escorts Harry back into Hogwarts through like a space which is behind a painting. But I swear that the common rooms, or at least the Gryffindor common room, is just a door. The painting is a door that you just walk through. But no, according to this line here, it sounds like McGonagall's almost awkwardly going through the gap. And so it's not like an archway. So that was an interesting line there, because I've always thought, possibly incorrectly, that you don't climb through the entrance into Gryffindor, you just walk through it. There you go. Little details, little details. Lee Jordan piping up here, guys, and quite frankly, Lee Jordan's out of order here. He says actually he's quite observant as well. He notices that there have been no Slytherins that have been attacked yet, which is probably why you have this Ravenclaw getting attacked, and why this line isn't in the movie, because there isn't Ravenclaw that's attacked. But yeah, he is observant, saying that all 3 other houses have been attacked yet, but not a Slytherin. He does then say that they should just throw all the Slytherins out, which is that's not good, guys. That's not good. But he's angry, and he's quite a passionate guy as well. Percy's basically in shock, guys. Here we go. He's just like not talking or anything, just like staring at the ground and everything. And like George says, I think to Harry, that Penelope Peerwater, the Ravenclaw, was a prefect, and how Percy, I think maybe subconsciously, just assumed prefects wouldn't be getting attacked. And so that was, again, a nice Percy moment. Very good line here. And I kind of wish, I don't think it was in the movie, guys. If it was, I apologise. But this line here where Harry's thinking about his future without Hogwarts, if Hogwarts does get shut down, and how he now knows exactly how Tom must have felt the time before with the chamber being opened, with the school potentially getting closed down then. Good line. Good line, guys. It's just like, comparing yourself with, who we later on find out is the villain. That was a really good line, and a great addition. Not addition, you know what I mean, because this is the original, but that is a really good comparison to have, Harry comparing himself to Tom. It really is. That was a great. I remember thinking that was a really good line in what was, in my opinion, a great scene in the book. It's in the movie, guys. It's just very, very short and very, very lackluster, I guess. In the book, very good stuff. So now the teachers, prefects, and ghosts are patrolling at night, guys. They're walking the corridors and everything, including Gilderoy. Ghosts, perfect. Very good idea to do that. The prefects, maybe not, but yeah, like everyone's, just so no one's snooping around at night and everything, they're actually patrolling the corridors. Obviously looking out for the creature as well. Ron and Harry are like creeping out to go to Hagrid's hut. Ron snubs his toe, and swears out loud again. We got another swore loudly line within the vicinity of Snape, but Snape just happens to sneeze at the same time as Ron. Now, am I being stupid here, or is that Snape thinking, oh, they're up to something, I better pretend I didn't hear them? Or am I giving Snape too much credit there? I don't know, guys. Let me know. It's just so convenient that he sneezed at that exact moment, But yeah, let me know what your thoughts. Maybe because we know that he's already looking out for Harry. So, man, maybe I'm reading too much into that though. Maybe that is just a coincidence. Let me know what you think. Yes, Hagrid is obviously super nervous. He has the crossbow with him and everything. He forgets to put the tea bags into their tea that he pours for them. Obviously, that's quite similar to Luna's dad, or basically the opposite to Luna's dad from Deathly Hallows Part 1. We shall see if that happens in the book. I have got a note down here, guys, and I'm sorry if I'm being really, really dumb. Who is Hagrid worried about? Is he worried that the creature is knocking at his door? Is he worried that the heir of Slytherin is trying to not even get back at him? How would that be getting back at him? I'm very confused there, guys. Also, why is Hagrid not patrolling the grounds like all the other teachers? Either way, he's not a teacher, I know, but I'd imagine Filch is probably having to stay up all night as well doing this. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about who he's actually worried about who's coming, because it's not the Ministry. Because, you know, unless, or maybe it is the Ministry. No, he wouldn't be shooting Fudge if Dumbledore wasn't there, Veggie. That's stupid. I'm a little bit confused by who he's worried about. I actually am. Does Hagrid know about the invisibility cloak? Yeah, I got a little note here that this must be the first time that Hagrid has seen the invisibility cloak, right? Unless James had anything to do with him. That's an interesting point. Because surely James would have known Hagrid. Not in the way that Harry does, but... I mean, he's not fazed at all by the fact that they have this cloak. And I don't think at any point in the first movie... I'm pretty sure that no teachers see the invisibility cloak in the first book. So yeah, he's not like, oh, what the heck's going on when they like come up from underneath it. But no, maybe I'm thinking too much into this. This is why the videos are so long, guys. Because I'm always thinking too much into these things. And we know that Hagrid's not good with secrets as well. And so if he did know about the cloak, you know that before tea time, the entire school's going to know about Harry's cloak. So yes, enter Cornelius Fudge. Has a lime green bowler hat and purple boots. Well, that's a look. He's obviously a lot more plainer in the movie. Great actor, the guy in the movie, guys. I've never really watched it, but there's an old TV show called All Creatures Great and Small. I think that's the right one, isn't it? I think it's called All Creatures Great and Small, where him and Peter Davison of Doctor Who fame and other people. Other famous people are in it as well. They play vets. And I swear to God, he ain't aged a day since between then and being in Chamber of Secrets. Very well cast role there. And it's very interesting how because he's saying to Hagrid that it's just going to be a short stretch and everything. He's been very, very diplomatic. I don't know if that's just to get Hagrid to come along with him, or he's actually saying, don't worry, we think it probably isn't you, but for now, if you could just go in there just so we can be seen to be doing something. I'm not so sure, but yeah, interesting bits of dialogue in the book version here. So yeah, the fact that Fudge does say that we need to do something, and to be seen to be putting someone in Azkaban to do with it at all, you know, that's him. That's his job done then, you know. He's done his political, you know, movement and everything. If he's actually saying that he truly believes to Hagrid that it'll only be a short stretch in Azkaban for Hagrid until the real person's been caught, is he being legit there? I think he probably is. I think think that I don't think that he. I think because he has to do something. He's not fully paid up believer that Hagrid is guilty. And so yeah, this seems very interesting. Their dialogue, it's only short, but it's very, very interesting. Fang does not like Lucius. He starts growling when Lucius comes in. No, I'm not surprised. Yeah, we had the languages in the movie about Lucius saying there'll be no Muggle-borns left, and what a terrible loss that would be. Obviously, being very, very sarcastic. It does really. I mean, Fudge straight up defends Dumbledore when Lucius says that the governors have made a decision on him. He is straight up defending Dumbledore. Now, in the movie, he almost looks like he's trying to intercept Lucius giving Dumbledore the note. But no, Fudge is actually fighting Dumbledore's corner, which is nice, guys, because we heard a bit about their relationship in the first book, where apparently Cornelius is always phoning or contacting Dumbledore, asking for advice on what they should do and everything. I really like this, guys, because you don't get the feeling that Cornelius is just purely out for Dumbledore. And like I say, I feel like his portrayal in the movie is probably that as well, but it's a lot more subtle because there's no dialogue. Whereas in the book, he is straight up defending Dumbledore. Hagrid says that basically Hagrid accuses Lucius of blackmailing the other members of the council. which is wow. That's certainly not in the movie. I mean, he's most definitely right, isn't he? let's not teeter around it. And yes, we had the wonderful line about help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. I feel like I've always misunderstood that line. Because we kind of have it explained a bit more in a future future chapter, which we'll be covering today. Essentially, Harry gets the impression that they should be asking Myrtle. Whereas I always felt it was almost Dumbledore being slightly disappointed with Harry and Ron. In a way that they didn't come to him about this. Because Dumbledore always knows what's going on. So I always assumed that he's basically saying that you're not alone. And there are people that can help you. Don't be fighting this battle alone, you know? That's probably been spurred on by the fact that in the movie, even Harry isn't sure if he's the heir of Slytherin. That is not the case in the book, guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. There is never a point where Harry's like, well, maybe I am, but I just don't know it. That line is in the movie, which makes a completely different dynamic, guys. And so that line where Dumbledore says, "Help is always given to those who ask for it," was in my headcanon a reaction to Harry carrying this burden. But from what I gather going on these chapters, it's not. He's literally saying, no, you should be asking Myrtle a question. I feel like I've missed something there, guys, but yeah. Let me know what you think that he meant by that line. Because I've always assumed that that's what it is. Being disappointed is not the right term. Being comforting, I think, is what I meant to say there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean being disappointed. Doobie quack quack. I think that's it. I think that's the chapter done, guys. I've got down here that Fudge is staring at Hagrid when Hagrid is saying about this. You know, people want to find something. Follow the spiders. Great impression there. And he is in the movie. He's just like that. Whereas in the book, I get the impression he's like, "What the hell are you talking about, dude?" But yes. But that line is in there. There are definitely moments when I was making these notes thinking, was that in the movie? And then having gone back and watched the scenes that we cover here, it is in the movie. But that's always going to happen, I'm afraid. Either way, great chapter. Movie did pretty good job of reproducing the major points. But now let's get on to chapter... Oh no, it's chapter 14. Cornelius Fudge. I'm an idiot. Now let's go on to chapter 15, Aragog. With Dumbledore gone, the school starts to fear again, with Malfoy being the only person not affected by it. Harry continues looking for spiders to follow, but with no luck until herbology, when not only does Harry see spiders heading towards the Forbidden Forest, but the noble Hufflepuff Ernie apologises to Harry for thinking irrationally. We need to discuss this. Really good bit. Not just because it's Hufflepuff. Harry and Ron wait until dark to put on the cloak and head in the direction the spiders are going. Before they enter the forest, they stop to get Fang with hopes of protection. In the forest, they discover the Weasley's car has been there the whole time. Whilst distracted by the car, something grabs all three of them and drags them away. This was not what I was expecting at all. It turned out to be the giant a giant spider that take them, giant spiders that take them to the even larger spider named Aragog. Aragog tells them that he was what Hagrid was expelled for, but he was not the creature in the chamber. With further explanation, they learn that spiders fear the creature so much that he won't say its name, even to Hagrid and the girl who died in the bathroom. things take a dark turn when Aragog says he will not harm them, but he can't say the same for his children. Nicely put. And the spiders descend on the boys and Fang when the car comes back to save the day. Once back on Hogwarts ground, the boys put 2 and 2 together and realise that Myrtle is the student who died. I'm going to go into this straight away. That it does take Harry a bit of time. I feel like in the scene with Aragog, when he said the girl in the bathroom, I thought, oh, only Myrtle. Obviously, Harry's got more to worry about at this point than I did when whilst watching it. But considering how quickly he put something together in the next chapter that we'll be covering, the Chamber of Secrets, he's like a machine working out one thing about how people are just stunned and not killed. It does take Harry a little while to work out the Aragog connection, the bathroom connection. Either way, let's get through this in order. So, visitors are now barred from the hospital wing, which is fair. Bonfrey's actually worried that the attacker might come back to try and finish them off, in fact, and so obviously she feels like there's an actual reason why these specific students are getting targeted. Yes, so they are now moving around in groups now, in houses and obviously in classes as well. You have the different teachers taking them between classes and everything. This is something which would have been really nice in the movie, but the movie in these chapters goes so fast. I mean, everything that I'm going to be talking up until when they go into the Forbidden Forest, guys, is not in the movie, because they literally go from Hagrid getting taken to them going straight into the forest. So all of this represented in the movie. But I really like the idea that the teachers are having to, and it'd be nice to hear what the teachers think about having to do it. Like, if they're worried about, if they're worried about the students, worried about themselves, if they think it's a blooming chore, if they think it's a waste of time. We get one teacher, Lockhart, in this chapter, who does feel like it is a complete waste of time, in fact. A doopy-doopy-doo. Yeah, Draco is loudly saying how proud he is that Lucius was the one to get rid of Dumbledore. He even says that he's hoping that the next headmaster will be happy to leave the Chamber of Secrets open all the time. I get at this point, sorry about the noise. I get the idea at this point that he's just being. He knows that people are listening to him, and he's just trying to freak them out more. Because I don't think he actually thinks what he's saying at this point. I don't think so, anyway. But yeah, the stuff that he's saying is pretty damn horrendous. Yeah, McGonagall's filling in as headmaster, much as she does in the later movies. Sorry about the noise. Draco actually says to Snape that Snape should go for the top job, and he's like really sucking up to him as well. Like, I say how amazing Snape would be in the role and everything, and Snape's not like taking it seriously at all and everything. But as he walks away, Seamus is like pretending to throw up into his cauldron over what Draco was just saying. And then Draco says that he hopes that the next attack... Like I said, I really get the impression now that Draco doesn't believe what he's saying. He's just trying to wind people up around him. Because, like, he says that he hopes that the next one will be a fatal attack, and that he wished that the attack on Hermione had been. And Ron, being Ron, straight away, like, goes to deck him, I guess would be the right term. He says that he doesn't need his wand, which is broken anyway. That he'll do it with he'll do it with his bare hands and everything. Again, parallels with Arthur and Lucius, and Ron and Draco here, guys. Really is. I mean, Arthur was the one who lost his cool in the bookshop, so. He is definitely his father's son. Ron is. And then Snape takes them all to herbology, or at least out of the castle to where herbology actually is done. Ernie's back. as the blurb said and everything, and he does straight up apologize, guys, and it's awesome. The reason for his apology is great. He says that he knows that Harry would never do something like that to Hermione. It's just brilliant, guys. I really like that, guys, and it's not just because Ernie's Hufflepuff, guys. That is awesome. Putting 2 and 2 together and feeling bad about what you've done because you trust Harry enough that he wouldn't do that to his friends. I thought that was awesome, guys. I really did. And Ernie does like say that maybe Draco is the son of Slytherin, and Ron's like very sarcastic because Ron hasn't forgiven Ernie like Harry has. Harry just straight up shakes hands, but Ron's still like quite annoyed about what happened. Bloomin' Harry hits Ron with pruning shears to get his attention. That would bloomin' hurt, guys. About the spiders crawling along. Ernie and Hannah are straight up eavesdropping on Harry and Ron's conversation. I don't know if that's going to pay off at any point, but it literally says they are just like, not very subtly just listening to everything that Ron and Harry are saying about the spiders and everything. Which is fine, guys. Because 99% of these books is Harry and or Ron overhearing someone else talk about something. And so that's fine. In fact, Harry was overhearing Hannah and Ernie's conversation in the previous chapters, wasn't he? And yeah, we get Harry like mentioning the centaurs and the unicorns and saying that not everything in the Forbidden Forest is a bad thing. It did then say that Ron had never been into the Forbidden Forest before, and my brain just had a meltdown, guys. I was so baffled by that line, but then I remembered it's Neville that goes into the forest in the Philosopher's Stone book, not Ron. And so yeah, that took me a little bit of, my brain had to reprocess that whole thing again. Yeah, I mean, Lockhart in a way thinks it's a waste of time. He's not complaining about having to do it. Anything that gives him an audience, he's always up for, I guess. But Lockhart is straight up saying that it's all right because Hagrid's arrested now, so nothing can go wrong. Now, I wonder if that is partly Lockhart getting back at Hagrid, because we know that Hagrid has frustrated him in the past, as has everyone. So I don't know if that's Lockhart being naive, just thinking, oh, everything's done now, legitimately thinking that everything's done now, or he's like, yeah, that's right. No, because then he would still be worried about the creature, I should say, not Snake. I don't know that yet. Yeah. Now I think about it, I don't think it is out of bitterness. When I made these notes, I was thinking, is he enjoying the fact that Hagrid's been taken? But no, he would be very nervous about this snake if Hagrid was still there, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think I got that wrong in my notes. Fred and George are playing Exploding Snap. I'm wondering, do you guys outside the UK know what Snap is? I don't think I've ever seen Snap being played in anything American or anything like that. I don't think. Unless it's called something similar. Basically, you keep putting down cards until the same card gets put down at the same time, and then the first person to say Snap gets the deck. I think that's all the Snap. Yeah, I'm not sure if the term Snap is used outside the UK. Harry and Ron are playing them as well, but they're losing on purpose just so they're able to get out there and go to work, as it were, to go to Hagrid's hut. Fang is like delighted to see Ron and Harry, which is very sweet, guys, because obviously like we don't see any of. No, of course, this is the thing, because in the movie they go from Hagrid being arrested to them literally going straight into the forest. So there's no break there at all. And so it's nice to hear that Fang is delighted to see Harry and Ron. I'm hoping that they do feed him. They feed him blooming treacle fudge. Not Cornelius fudge either. That can't be good for a dog, guys. But then again, I'd imagine that Fang's got a pretty good constitution, to be fair. It's not the right term. Yeah, I'd imagine you could probably eat anything and be absolutely fine. But yeah, I'm not so sure you should be giving treacle fudge to a dog, guys. Definitely don't give chocolate to dogs, guys. It's actually poisonous to them. You can get dog chocolate, but don't give them anything that has actual chocolate in, because, like I say, it's poisonous. I don't mean they're just going to keel over or anything, but it can really upset their stomach, and it can be dangerous as well. So that's my little veggie tip for the day. Do not feed dogs human chocolates. Itchy, scratchy nose. They got this line here, guys. Now, I don't understand this. Harry decides to leave the cloak, and it says because they won't need it. What? Now, in the movie, they don't take the cloak with them either. I presume they just leave it in the hut when they after Hagrid's been taken. But why would they not feel that they need it? Does it not work? He's never used the cloak in the forest before, has he? Does it not work in the forest? I've never known a place where the cloak doesn't work. Why do they feel they're not going to need it? Do they think that it's not going to work on... Oh, they don't know there's big spiders in there, do they? I was going to make a Hobbit reference then. Saying like how spiders won't be able to see people that are invisible. But why are they not... That line was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you're not going to need it? You don't know what's out there. You know there's very bad things out in the forest. Just take it with you. Anyway, it was a strange line. Harry uses the light up spell so you can see what's in front of them. Ron says that he do it to his, but it might blow up or something, which is just a really funny line. And then when you had the blooming car making its reveal, obviously Ron and Harry... I'll say this now, guys. Harry ain't scared enough in the movie, guys. He's really not. He's too confident in... He's so undeterred by anything, particularly in this whole process. And yet, and at the end of the next chapter as well, definitely the book really puts over the fact that Harry is actually terrified for his life. But in the movie, he just looks bored sometimes. I'm not criticising Daniel Radcliffe. I think he's great. I think he's absolutely brilliant as Harry Potter. The directing and the script and everything is such that Harry as a character never really seems fazed. But here, he's really worried about the car and everything. Sure, Ron is more scared. Ron is like going, oh no, oh no, oh no, and Harry says, shut up. Which is funny. But Harry is definitely scared in this scene, and it takes away, guys. It's the same thing where I know a lot of you say Hermione can do no wrong in the movies, that she's perfect. I wouldn't quite go that far, and I thoroughly enjoyed Hermione from the movies, guys. She is definitely done better in the books, and its weaknesses, guys. That's why I love Persona 4. Don't go on a rant about Persona 4, guys. Veggie. I love Persona 4, guys. It's my favourite Persona game by a... no, not a mile. I love Persona 3, and I quite like Persona 5. I haven't finished it yet. I love Persona 4, though. And 3 is great as well. But 4 is so good. And it's all about character faults. And helping people to accept those character faults and to overcome them. Character faults are so important in literature and in movies and everything, guys. So for Harry as a 13-year-old boy to be kind of cool with the fact that there's loads of spiders about to rip them to shreds loses something. That is not a criticism of Daniel Radcliffe, guys. It's not his... He would have been told to play it a certain way. But we'll go into it at the end of the Chamber of Secrets chapter again. In the movie, he's like, oh, now I'll go and save the day. In the book, he says, if I'm not back in an hour, and then he literally can't finish the sentence because he doesn't want to think about it. That's how you build characters, guys. And that's not even a character fault. Being worried about something that's scary. But anyway, rant over. Yeah, so they find the car, and the car seems very friendly. I thought that the car was annoyed at them in the movie, but at this point it comes over like a dog. wanting a fuss and everything. Fang's freaking out as he would do. But yeah, the cast actually seems to be quite friendly with him, which I'm amazed. And it does have the line say that he's been turned wild. But yeah, he seems like he's happy to see them. And now we got probably the biggest change from these chapters, guys. Bloomin' giant spiders capture Ron, Harry, and Fang. They just like grab them with their front legs and just walk them away. The general spiders here, it seems. No, because there are tiny spiders on the ground as well. But Aragog is the only massive spider in the movie. But it seems like there are loads that are as big as movie Aragog, because it sounds like book Aragog is even bigger than he is in the movie. He's like a small elephant, in fact, it said. They take it to a hollow. They take them to a hollow rather than a cave. It says that it's the worst sight Harry had ever seen. This like area just filled with all these giant spiders and everything. And we hear the other spiders talking, which is fascinating. And obviously that's not using parcel tongue. So these spiders, whatever kind they are, can legit just talk with humans and with each other. And so the other spiders call for Aragog to come out, and Aragog comes out, and he's just like, "Kill him! I was sleeping," just to go back up again. Apparently he's blind in this, guys. I certainly didn't pick up that in the movie, but yeah, apparently all his eyes are white and everything, and he's definitely been portrayed to be very, very old at this point, which is understandable. Poor thing. But yeah, it does say, "Kill him! I was asleep," which I thought was a funny line. A bit of a change here. Aragog says how he was actually an egg, or in an egg, when he was given to Hagrid. In the movie, for whatever reason, I don't know why this decision was made. Maybe just so things wouldn't get confused even more. In the movie, it says that he travelled to Hogwarts in the pocket of a traveller. And so that sounds like it was just like an accident. The traveller didn't even know that he was carrying Aragog in with him. But no, in the book, it straight up says that he was given to Hagrid by this person. And we find out about Aragog's bloomin' wife, guys, who apparently was found by Hagrid as well. He must have like gone online or something. Mossag. I hope I'm saying that right. We have a bloomin' wife, guys. That's such a nice little detail. Really makes I can't say makes him seem more human, but it seems more civilized and, you know, trustworthy, you know, before what's about to happen. So it's nice to hear about Aragog's wife, seriously. It says how Aragog would never attack humans out of respect for Hagrid. Aragog asked Hagrid to let him go when he sensed the creatures. Yeah, Aragog was actually pleading with Hagrid, like, regularly to let him go, because he could sense the creature being in Hogwarts and everything, which is very interesting. Obviously, Hagrid, for whatever reason, refusing to let him go. Maybe because he thought that he'd get in trouble if Aragog was seen? Maybe? But yeah, he's basically being kept there against his will at that point. Hagrid had actually been, I guess, potentially interrogating, or at least asking Aragog many times about the creature and asking for clues about what it is and everything, but Aragog wouldn't say anything. Which is very interesting, guys. You do have this comparison. I'm not sure where my... that's right, I got it down at the bottom of the chapter, where... and I've never made this connection, because the line is in the movie as well, about the fact that the spiders will not say the name of the creature, is a direct correlation with Voldemort. The fact that humans will not say Voldemort. Spiders will not say the word. Basilisk. There we go. That's really interesting, and I've never picked up on that. The fact that there is that correlation between, you know, how bad these things are and how the society around them will not utter the thing's name. Really cool. Very, very cool. So yeah, this escape is a lot shorter in the book. A lot shorter, which I was really happy about, because in the movie it feels like it's going on for eternity. There's no bit where like Ron's head is inside the spider's mouth and everything, which I still get nightmares about now. Yeah, it's a lot more straightforward. They're about to get attacked by the spiders, and the car comes flying down the hill and like smashing through spiders and everything. Ron apparently picks up and throws Fang into the car. Fang's pretty big. I mean, then again, Ron probably, you know, quite a lot of adrenaline at this point as well. But yeah, the fact that Fang apparently was thrown into the car by Ron is interesting. Yeah, so much shorter this scene in the book. Ron's like just like, you know, completely focused on getting out of there, and even Harry's like looks over and thinks like that he like says, "Are you okay?" to Ron. Obviously, Ron's not okay. We've established that he doesn't like spiders anyway, but also anyone who doesn't have a phobia of spiders should also not be okay at this point. And so that line's kind of strange. Yeah, so we don't have the spider grabbing Ron scene, which was in the movie. When they get back to Hagrid's hut, like Ron is just trying to calm down and everything, and I think that Harry goes to get his cloak, and then comes back out, and like Ron's like throwing up in the pumpkin patch. It's horrible. Remind me not to have any pumpkin pie next Halloween, guys. But yes, he's actually throwing up about what just happened. And then we do get the comparison between the monster Voldemort. I think Harry like says how that this creature must be, and only when they're going to sleep does Harry suddenly think, oh, hang on, girl who died in the bathroom, that could be Myrtle. Again, considering how fast Harry is at working out some things, he was a little bit slow on the upkeep on that one. But either way, that's chapter 15, Aragog, guys. Really good chapter. Movie did a pretty good job. I hate the scene in the movie, the spiders. And you know what? If it had been like it was in the book, it'd be even worse, quite frankly. With the, like, loads of big spiders and they're all talking with each other and everything. Love the stuff with Ernie. Brief as it was. And yeah, another cracking chapter, guys. Let's get on to chapter 16, The Chamber of Secrets. Not a very original title, is it? With exams approaching, Professor McGonagall announces the Mandrake's potion is almost ready and the Petrified will be returning to normal. A fearful-looking Ginny tells Ron and Harry she has something important to say, but doesn't when Percy comes and sits next to them in the main hall. Ron berates him about it, and Percy says that she caught him doing something and doesn't want to say. Harry and Ron try sneaking away to talk to Myrtle when Lockhart doesn't see the need to escort the students around, but they are caught by McGonagall. We will be discussing that Percy thing, don't we worry, guys. They lie and say they were going to see Hermione, and she believes it. When they get there, they notice Hermione has a piece of paper in her hand, which describes the traits of the basilisk. It then clicks to them that the snake is the monster, and it's been using the plumbing to get around, which leads to them believing the entrance is in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. As they go to tell the teachers, they hear an announcement for all students to go back to their dormitories, and the teachers report to the staff room. Harry and Ron hide so they can listen over here that Ginny has been taken by the monster. The teachers tell the reluctant Lockhart to find the monster since he claims he can stop it, but really just wants him to get out of the way. That's actually very true. We'll discuss that because the movie version really portrays that differently. It really does. It's a strange choice in the movie, which even I've discussed with my brother even before getting to these chapters, guys, how odd that scene is in the movie. We'll get there. Harry, Ron and the twins are sitting in the common room when Harry and Ron decide to tell Lockhart what they know about the chamber, just to discover him trying to pack and leave. He admits he's a fraud, but good with memory charms, which he threatens the boys with. But Harry gives him the old, he got down here, the old Expelliarmus. Very nice, Max. And they then take him to Myrtle's bathroom, where she's very happy to tell of her story of how she died. They figure out that the opening to the chamber is by one of the sinks, and Harry opens it by speaking Parseltongue. Down in the tunnels, they discover large snake skins, and while the boys are distracted, Lockhart tackles Ron to the ground and steals his wand. He goes to erase their memories, but since it's Ron's wand, it backfires on him. The blast is so strong that it collapses the ceiling, causing the rocks to fall. A rock wall to form between with Harry on one side and Ron and Lockhart on the other. Harry proceeds down the tunnel and comes to the true entrance of the Chamber of Secrets, which he opens with Parseltongue. Thank you very much, Max, for these awesome blurbs this episode. They are greatly appreciated. So yes, guys, the Chamber of Secrets. So this is really where it says that Harry reckons that Dumbledore, being, talking subtly in Hagrid's hut, was referring to asking Myrtle, which is strange to me, guys, because I always thought it's basically telling Ron and Harry that that they need to confide in more people and not take everything on their own back, But no, unless I read it differently, Harry is absolutely putting it down to that Dumbledore must have been talking about Myrtle. It's very interesting that no one had asked Myrtle before. Well, I guess they all just assumed that it was Hagrid, aren't they? And she's not the most talkative person in the world, the most social person in the world either. So yeah, that makes sense. So obviously, because there's a lot more time in the book and everything, we had the whole sequence where because we now know that they're getting marched around between classes by different teachers and everything, that they actually need to escape the teachers so they can get to the bathroom. When in a class, I think it's Defense Against the Dark Arts. It isn't Defense Against the Dark Arts class. Neville nervously drops his wand and it makes the table leg disappear. That's very interesting, guys. Dropping your wand, because we get a lot of wand dropping. Maybe he was thinking something or saying something at the same time, and that's why it did this. Because just dropping your wand on its own shouldn't be enough to make something like that happen. I don't know. Maybe it was something that he was thinking that caused that to happen. Because obviously we have a lot of people dropping their wands throughout all these books. Harry assumes that there weren't actually going to be any exams this year, and I think that's the case by a lot of people, because when McGonagall announces it, I think it's in the Great Hall, like, everyone's like, oh, what? Like, I think that everyone thought that, that this year the exams just won't be happening, but no, even though Dumbledore's not there, McGonagall's job is to make sure that the school is being run as normal as possible, and so that's why everyone's furious at her about that. Harry's got, like, a couple of small white rabbits that he needs to make into slippers. This is my favourite thing about these books, guys, is the lovely little details like that. The fact that line isn't needed at all, but it really makes you just, like, understand what Hogwarts is as a location and everything. The fact he's got these little white rabbits. I presume they're going to be, like, slippers with bunny ears and everything, you'd imagine. I'd hope so, anyway. I love that sort of detail, I really do. And yeah, they talk about how Hermione hasn't been able to study at all for the exams, and that she'll completely freak out if she finds out the exams start in a couple of days. And Ron says it's probably going to be kinder if they just leave it and leave depetrifization, is that a word? Until after the exams, just to be kinder on her, which is hilarious. Yeah, we have Ginny coming to Harry and Ron, guys, and this is like one of these things of, like, perfectly bad timing and everything. She wants to confide something in them. And it's nice how she's looking, like, really meek and nervous and everything. And Harry's like, I recognise that look from somewhere. And it's actually from Dobby. Whenever Dobby's, like, about to reveal something that he really feels like he shouldn't be, he has the same look that Ginny's giving them at this point, which I think is adorable. Blooming Percy! I love Percy, guys. I think Percy book's fascinating. But Percy comes along. Now this is strange. And, like, says, can I have that seat if you're done eating? Sits down. He's, like, saying that he's been up all night, marching the halls and everything. And then we had this line, guys. And maybe I've got a dirty mind. Or maybe it's going to get paid off at some other point. Ginny, like, goes off because Percy's turned up. And Ron says, why did you do that? She was about to tell her something. And Percy, like, says, oh, it's probably because she walked in on me doing something. And I made her promise not to tell anyone. Okay, maybe I have just got a dirty mind, guys. So if you think it's anything else, let me know what you think in the comments. Or maybe it's going to get explained in the book. Either way, I'm going to apologise, because my brain does these things. But yeah, such a strange line. Such a strange line. It really is. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going completely lost. Yeah, Lockhart's still going on about Hagrid and how completely pointless all this marching around, marching the students around is completely pointless because he's been up all night, patrolling the corridors and everything. His hair is not as perfect as usual, which is obviously a disaster for Lockhart. And Ron and Harry again. They've done this several times, like play on his ego and convince him to leave the group, and so. I presume Lockhart goes off to get his rollers back in. I think someone actually accuses him of that at some point in this chapter as well, but because his hair isn't absolutely perfect. And Ron and Hermione are just about to break away from the group. In fact, they actually have broken away from the group. And again, as if by magic, to put it one way, McGonagall appears. McGonagall has been sentient in this book, guys. Sure he has. And Harry, again, manipulates McGonagall. So we go from one manipulation to another. One playing on someone's ego. And then Harry plays on McGonagall's emotions here. And it bloomin' works, guys. Saying how they want to go and see Hermione. Even though they're not allowed to and everything. And McGonagall, with a tear in her eye, like says that of course you can go and do that. Let Pomfrey know that I've given my permission. It's very interesting because that is doing what they did to Lockhart. Sure, is it a bit immoral? Doing what they did to McGonagall here, that's kind of sad that they would do that to their to their rep. It's for a good cause, but it's kind of it's for a good cause, and they have to do it, but. Manipulating McGonagall with emotions, that kind of makes me a little bit sad in a way. I don't know. I'm probably sounding really stupid. So yeah, Harry's manipulating teachers left, right, and centre in this chapter. They actually do go and see Hermione, which is weird, guys. Because in my head, I thought they're gonna as soon as McGonagall went off with to make sure the other students make it to their next class. I thought they're gonna think. Okay, let's go off to see Moaning Myrtle though. But no, they actually do go and see Hermione. I'm wondering if maybe McGonagall would have sent Pomfrey some sort of message, saying that there's someone on the way, and even though Ron and Hermione are going to be Ron and Harry are going to be giving confirmation that McGonagall has given permission. The fact that she maybe did the extra thing as well. So yeah, I was because they didn't want to go and see Hermione at this point. But they actually do go and see Hermione, and Pomfrey's questioning what the point is of visiting someone who's petrified. But I guess in her line of work, she has to sometimes be quite emotionless. There's a nice line because obviously the ban from visiting the hospital wing is not a thing in the movie because Ron and Harry, just go and visit Hermione, and that's when they find a piece of paper. They're literally just sitting there with her, and then they find a piece of paper. And there is a nice line which is in the movie, guys. And this again, I think, is a nice addition that was in the movie. Unless I don't think it was in the book. I'm sorry if it was, guys. I feel like I'm messing up here, but Harry says to Hermione, "We need you now more than ever," because Hermione absolutely is immaculate at what she does best, which is research, which she has done at this point. I don't think that was in the book, guys. I'm sorry because it's such a good line. Part of my brain is thinking that maybe I just missed it, but that is a really good line. And obviously then they find the piece of paper in her hand. The basilisk, we find out a little bit more information in the book, guys. It says that the basilisk is born from a chicken egg beneath a toad. So presume that it's legit a normal chicken egg. But once it gets beneath a toad, I guess in the same way potions are made in Harry Potter, the Potterverse, it changes its... It's interesting, guys. It's a chicken egg hatched beneath a toad is literally the term which is used. Which is a very strange image. We find out that the crow of a rooster actually kills the basilisk. That is something that's mentioned in the movie at all, guys. And it explains why the roosters are getting attacked. Because we get the roosters being attacked in the movie. I'm sure we do. I'm sure that Hagrid is carrying the dead rooster. And from what I gather... don't know why I'm doing this. From what I gather... in the movie, the only reason that scene is still there is so it can explain the blood on the wall, on the message. But in the book, that message isn't written in blood. It's just magical ink or something. It at no point does it say it's even red. So the movie version, the movie's entire reason for the roosters to still be dying is that. But... in the book, it's basically the heir of Slytherin, or what we believe is the heir of Slytherin, is going around killing the roosters so they don't have that insta-kill against the basilisk. Again, fascinating information that's cut from the movie, guys. Oh yes, Ravenclaw had a mirror as well. And so what the theory is that as soon as Hermione worked out... Either maybe they knew that something was coming, and so she told Penelope, I think it was, wasn't it, to get her mirror out, or maybe she was explaining it because she's a prefect, and then the basilisk attacked them both, without them knowing. But I'd imagine it's the case that they could hear something coming finally, like actually hear it physically moving, or maybe saw the edge of it or something like that, and Hermione quickly warned Penelope to not look it straight on. And so nice details. This is the bit which I was saying about how Harry really, and this is in the book and the movie, how he really works out how each case was done like that. Like the fact that he thinks that Justin must have seen the basilisk through Nearly Headless Nick. In a month of Sundays, I would have never worked out, guys. I would have never come up with that, I should say. But yeah, he's really on the ball in this scene, in the book and in the movie. I got here is Ginny. Does I can't remember, guys. Is there any reason to assume that Ginny has Parseltongue? Is a Parselmouth, I should say. Or because she's getting possessed, can anyone be a Parseltongue? If they're being possessed, because we do have that strange scene in Deathly Hallows Part 2 where I think Ron uses Parseltongue to open a door, and so it's not just about ability, it's about saying the words, in which case if Ginny is possessed, then she would be able to speak Parseltongue, but there's no suggestion of her being able to do it outside of being possessed at all, so I'm guessing that she's not. Very interesting, we get a magical voice, McGonagall, warning all students to go back to their dormitories. Because I swear that we have had an intercom actually getting mentioned before, where there's actually an intercom which is like machinery. Which isn't very wizardly, but... Maybe we have. Maybe I'm filling in blanks again. But the fact that it's a magical voice, maybe it's because it's such an emergency that she couldn't get time to get to somewhere where she could do it. But yeah, it's a magical voice, not an intercom this time. Yeah, Harry and Ron don't actually see the message in this version. And now we have this strange bit in the movie, guys, which I'll go into. And it's clarified a lot better in the book. It's still a bit odd. But... No, in the book it's not odd actually, but in the movie we have it where Lockhart comes along because he was taking a nap or something, and Snape and McGonagall in the book it's Snape, McGonagall, Flitwick and Sprout who are basically saying, "Oh, good, you can go and sort this out now because you keep on talking about how you've been doing it." And it specifically says that they're stony faced while they're doing it. So obviously, I think that they are putting the boot in, as it were, into Lockhart, like, you know, basically mocking him at this point, because it says that they're stony faced while saying, "Oh, good, you said you can go do this. Go and do this now." And then it does say that they're doing it to get him out from under their feet, so they can actually, you know, presumably go off and try and solve the mystery themselves. I'm guessing that's what they're doing at this point. But in the movie version, Snape and McGonagall look like they're having the time of their life saying this to Lockhart, whilst Ginny's just been kidnapped. And, you know, Hogwarts is having to shut down. McGonagall says Hogwarts is going to have to close down because of this. They look like they're about to burst out laughing while saying this to Lockhart. Me and my brother discussed that before I got to these chapters in the book, guys. It's a strange decision to have them smirking as saying this stuff, considering how bad this situation is. So in the book, the fact that they're all, and it says stony-faced, as they're saying, "Oh good, you go and do it now," makes so much more sense than, "You go and do it now," which we get in the movie version. Yeah. Strange scene in the movie. So Ron and Harry are hanging out with Fred and George again. Percy's like on his own. I think he's like, in fact, he's like, I don't think he's locked in his room, but he's just like basically gone away. He's obviously heartbroken about what's happened with Jenny and everything. Harry and Ron here feel really, really defeated. In the movie, it's all like, "Oh, action stations, let's go, let's run around, let's solve everything." Here, it's like, there's nothing we can do now. And I think it says that it's the worst Harry has ever felt in his life. They just feel completely and utterly deflated in the book version. Just so different from in the movie in these scenes, guys. Although that being said, we do have an amazing line in the movie when they're running to Gilderoy's room. They don't run to Gilderoy's room; they just go to it in the book. But in the movie, they're running to Gilderoy, and Harry says he may be useless, but he's going to try and open up the chamber. It's amazing. He may be useless. But no, they're going to Lockhart, with completely goodwill to try and solve this mystery. So yes, we now find out that Lockhart took other wizards and warlocks and some witches' stories, which is mentioned in the movie, guys. But it's a lot more fleshed out here, where he literally says we're not going to have some old Armenian warlock on the front cover. It looked terrible. And what about the witch who took out the hag? She's got a hair lip and stuff like that. And so he's actually explaining. He's not explaining. He's trying to justify what he does, which is obviously ridiculous. He can't justify what he's doing at all. But yeah, we absolutely straight up hear that he actually takes specific stories from people and then wipes their memory, which is a good twist. It is a good twist, and it is in the movie. But I like how we hear some more details about it in the book. And he actually tracks them down, and so when he finds out about these stories before they become too public, I guess he actually tracks down and travels to them to do this. He does say that actually tracks them down. And yes, Expelliarmus on Lockhart, guys, which obviously Snape very smartly got him to kind of teach Ron and Harry before, because he doesn't use Expelliarmus in the movie to get rid of the wand. I swear he doesn't. Yeah, I think that I swear he doesn't. I have just checked these scenes out, guys. I'm pretty sure that he just goes over to his chest, turns around, and Ron and Harry are already like that. At wand point, it says at some point in this chapter, which I think is an amazing reference to gunpoint. But in the book, he's basically swinging around, and Harry's like, "Whoosh, Expelliarmus!" Ron grabs his wand and throws it out the window. That's not in that. I feel like should have been in the movie. Don't know why they wouldn't do that. And making that connection with the fact that it's Snape who was the one who suggested Expelliarmus being a useful tool for Harry and Ron to learn, or all the students to learn. Very nice. And in fact, we know it's super effective against Lockhart already. So yeah, they go off to the bathroom with Lockhart, and Myrtle's there, and she is like, she's actually flattered that someone's actually asked her about her death, which no one's ever done apparently. We do hear about Olive. I've got Oliver. It's Olivia, or is it Olive? I think it's a female. Hornby bullying Myrtle, which is a line that's in the movie, but apparently Myrtle is haunting or haunted Hornby. So like she stayed around, I guess, to with the specific reason to haunt. I got Oliver. It's not Oliver. I think it's Olive Hornby. Very interesting. And whatever happened to Olive, I'd be very interested to know. I doubt we're ever going to meet them. Hornby is not a name which I've heard in Harry Potter before, at least. Anyway, so very interesting to hear any more about Hornbys. Seriously. So yeah, they open up the entranceway to the chamber, and it's a lot more a pipe. Obviously, in the I guess you could describe what's in the movie as a pipe, but it's bricks though, so I don't know if it really would be a pipe. I guess it is. Is a pylon a pipe? Technically, yeah, I guess it is more chimney, but it is a big pipe. But in the book, it's like a pit. I would say I wouldn't even describe it as a pipe. There's no line where Myrtle like says, if you die, you can share my toilet. I'll be honest, guys, I never really liked that line in the movie. I think it's kind of... Myrtle's portrayal in Chamber of Secrets is strange for me, guys. And that line I thought was kind of dumb from the movie, and it's not in the book at all. There's no like flirting with Harry or anything, and so it'd be interesting to know if that's the case in Goblet of Fire as well. If we have that scene where she's trying to, like, you know, have a look at, you know what. That'd be interesting. But yeah, I never really liked that line in the movie, and so yeah, it's not in the book at all. Harry fails to... Oh, yes. So, obviously, to open the taps and everything, or the sinks, I should say, Ron suggests to talk Parseltongue to it, and maybe that work. And nice addition. I like this more in the book, where Harry goes to say, open up, but Ron is like, no, that was English. And so, and the fact that he needed clarification from Ron to know that was English. I thought that was cool. And then in the second attempt, he does do it, whereas in the movie, he just does it straight away. Tiny detail, but I do like the fact that he has to look over to Ron to see if he did it right, because to him, it all just sounds English. Good detail. Ron suggests the chamber might be under the lake. Yes, that's a pretty good assumption, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting that he says that it's probably under the lake. I don't know exactly what he meant by that, but he says it. They're walking around, and obviously Harry has warned them about not looking at the basilisk if they see it. And Lockhart is literally walking around with his hands in front of his eyes. Just an amazing visual. He doesn't pretend to faint. So in the movie, he like faints, and Ron like says, "Heart of a lion," this one, and then Gilroy gets up and nabs his wand. No, like Max said in the blurb, he tackles Ron to the ground and grabs his wand. Oh man, I keep on getting lost. Yeah, so no pretending to faint. He says that the term "the adventure ends here." I don't know if this is a reference, guys, because that's in the movie as well. I don't know if that's a reference to a book series, guys, but I think they were called Fighting Fantasy. I've never read them before, but old like game books, you know what I mean? And I believe that they would always end with the term "your adventure ends here." I don't know if that's a reference. Probably not. I'm probably really overthinking things now, but yeah, that line is in the movie as well. But I just noticed it this time. We actually hear "obliterate," which I don't think I've ever made the connection with that being the spell that Hermione uses on her parents later on, and obviously other people as well. I don't think I've ever made that connection, the fact that that is the same spell that's being used on them. I think that I've always assumed that it's obliterate, but no, it's obliviate, as in oblivious. I'm oblivious to something, you know, being something that, in this case, you've forgotten. Lockhart's out cold. There's no funny bit where he's like saying, "Oh, who are you? Do you live here?" and all that sort of thing. And there's no bit where like Ron smacks him with a rock, which is very violent, which is in the movie. Lockhart's completely out, and like and when Harry asks if Ron's okay, Ron like says, "I'm okay, but this git isn't though." I mean, we've heard the word git in the books already, haven't we? I'm pretty sure it was Goblet of Fire, sorry. Which was the first time we heard the word git in the movie, because I remember finding it incredibly funny. But yeah, we've already got git at this point. And Harry seems so much more worried. Not only about being split up, but, you know, he's worried about what he's going to see. If he's going to see Ginny dead. He's worried he's going to see the Basilisks. The way that it's done in the book, you really... And this is the benefit of having an internal dialogue. Because obviously in a movie you can't do that, but we're really hearing about how worried Harry is. And like I say, he says, "I'm not back in an hour," and he can't even finish that sentence. So Ron like interjects and like says, "I'll try and get some of this moved and get to you." Definitely putting over Harry as being a lot more realistic in this situation. But again, in the movie you don't have internal dialogue, and so what can you do, seriously? Either way, fantastic chapter. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Let's get on to the Harry Potter book club. Let's see what you guys have been saying about him. Okay, so welcome to the Harry Potter Book Club, guys. This is how it looks over on the Patreon. If you want to be a part of it, you can go and sign up for as little as you like over there and get your comments read out. Always thoroughly enjoy doing this part, guys. It's always so much fun. There's always replies to a lot of the comments. Oh, I haven't expanded it. There's always a lot of replies to a lot of the comments, and I don't read the replies, and so if you want to go and discuss people's comments further, then you can do so there. Because I only cover the top comment, and so if you want to talk about things which are a little bit more spoilery, you can do it in there. But either way, let's kick off. I'm going to move that a little bit more over here, and then do this. Will it work? Will it work? It's fine. I'm going to ruin it if I do it if I change it anymore. So let's get on with it. We'll start off with Nyx. Hello, Nyx. Great, really love your reviews, although I'm a little worried time-wise, knowing just how many chapters you will have to get through in 7 books. From now on, you will learn more about Fudge and the mystery of magic, which is interesting to get a better view of the Wizarding world. I wasn't expecting us to go into the mystery of magic at all in the first book, but they did, didn't they? Much of that got left out of the movies, which is pertinent to the overall story. Yeah, I get you, Nick. They always need to catch something out of the story, but in the movie versions. But I'm really enjoying hearing about it. And like I say, we hear about it before Harry even gets to Hogwarts. We hear all about Fudge and everything. Just after Hagrid meets up with it, in fact. With him, I should say. Yes, time-wise, I'm so sorry that it's taken me so long to get to these comments. It's been 4 weeks again, guys. October has been chaos to me. It really has, but things should be a bit easier now. I'm so sorry about that. Natalie. Aragog shudder. I'm sorry, but I'm either noping the hell out of there or summoning a flamethrower, yes, to send those 8-legged nightmares back to the fiery hellscape they escaped from. My goodness, Natalie, that's a heck of a comment. And I can't not agree with you. Fiery hellscape. I hope I'm saying your name right. This snake, which may reach gigantic size and live many hundreds of years, is born from a chicken egg hatched beneath a toad. People really should have made a bigger deal of Neville's toad going missing so much. Oh my goodness. That could have been bad. That could have been bad. Yes, that could have been very bad. That's very true. It's very true. Is the toad female? It doesn't say it has to be female. It just says beneath a toad. Very good point. Great comment. Josh. Something that always struck me is that Harry describes Ginny's apparent death as the worst day of his life. It does, yeah. A boy who lost his parents has been abused and neglected by relatives for years and has come face to face with Voldemort once already feels like that about his best friend's little sister. Very interesting, Josh. Now, I would say this. His parents' death he wouldn't remember. I know he remembers that laughter and a flashing light or something. Coming face to Voldemort must have been terrifying, yes. And in fact, I mean, it's said in Aragog chapter, the worst image that he's ever seen was actually there. That being said, Harry really sees the Weasleys as almost an adopted family. He sees them as as a family that he owes a lot to. And he always has this thing of kind of blaming himself for things as well. So maybe in his head, he partly sees Ginny's death as being his fault? I know what you mean though, Josh. I do know what you mean. I find this interesting to highlight because I know that many fans say that the relationships are underdeveloped, but I think subtle hints prove the exact opposite, which you will see as the book progresses. Of course, they end up together, don't they? Ron seeing Hermione's empty chair and having the courage to follow the spiders to another great is another great example of subtle early feelings and pivotal character moments for Ron that the movie's butchered. Yeah, I know this Ron's big character building moments, from what I gather, are really ripped apart in the movies, guys. And already in book 2, I can see that's absolutely the case. Him looking over the chair, absolutely, and the fact the fact that little things like that would will him to go into an area where he would otherwise literally never go. That's a great point. It's a great point, Josh. Thank you very much for your comment, Mark. That was quick. Good job. I know. Well, kind of, Mark, because it's been 4 weeks since I'm sorry. It's been 4 weeks. It's ridiculous. Yes, I've started to post out the Potter book review comment hall posts very early after posting the video, guys. And so if you're seeing this on the day that it's being posted, the next one hopefully should be up potentially even tomorrow. So yes, and I will try and get. I will endeavour to get the next book review out quicker. Thank you very much for your comments, Katie. The Golden Trio being very firm in their belief that Hagrid would never hurt anyone, but also believe that Hagrid would take pity on a monster is pure gold. It's very true. It's definitely within his remit, isn't it? Better than in the movie where they just jump to think Hagrid did it, and Mad and Harry, you wouldn't happen to be talking to me. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. The fact that Hagrid did overhear him. I kind of like that part they added in the movie. Yeah, I'll say this. I feel like the movie did a very good job of chopping these chapters down. Because there's a lot. There's a lot, guys. All the stuff about the teachers taking students around between the different classes and everything, just gone from the movie. Because the scenes are back to back now. In the movie version, I do feel like it did a good job in doing that. I do prefer the book version, definitely, but you can't have everything in it, unfortunately, in the movie. Also, with plants being sentient, I think being vegan would be a little difficult in the Wizarding world. Fair point. There is an unofficial Harry Potter vegan cookbook on Amazon. I know I've been sent a link to this before, Catty. I need to. Should I check that out? Maybe I need to check that out. Maybe I need to check it out. I believe that Luna had something to do with it. The actress, I should say. Yeah, plants being sentient, it would be difficult. But then again, you are still technically vegan if it is plants. That's when each individual vegan would have to make their own moral decision about what they do and don't want to do. Because obviously, in reality, there's vegans who can't certain things that other vegans don't, as long as you're not eating meat and dairy. But you know, like morally about different companies and things like that, you know. And some people don't eat mushrooms as well. Thank you very much for your comment. I really should check that book out. It's basically made for me, isn't it? Camilla, I love how in the book Harry and Ron are more reluctant to follow the spiders than they are in the movie. Again, it's this Harry thing. It's a final look at Hermione's empty seat that eventually makes them desperate enough. That's exactly what the previous comment said. One of the previous comments said. That's a very, very good point. Even though Harry and Ron have their own strengths, it's mostly courage over skill. Fair. The fact is that the both of them and Fang as well would have been murdered there in the forest had it not been for the car. Very true. And the car wouldn't be there if it wasn't for them as well. Being saved by luck is a recurring theme in the series. Interesting. I would have called it plot armor, but not quite, because the seeds for what saves them is always planted earlier on. Very interesting. Yeah, I know the term plot armor. I feel like the last series of Game of Thrones was the most egregious example of plot armor. What did they do to my Game of Thrones, guys? What did they do to her? Quite frankly. Favourite character by far until like the last 2 series. And then I couldn't stand her. It's true though, it's true. Arya. This I was given this for my birthday back when I really liked the character. Obviously, it's different in the books, though. And I think I've tried to listen to the audiobooks of Harry Potter. It's a bit heavy going, obviously. Lots of characters. My God, there's a lot of characters. Arya was by far my favourite character, and they just... But anyway, we're talking about plot armor. Yes, there is a bit where lots of people should die over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and none of them do. This isn't a spoiler, it's almost a kind of hint. So I will be careful with how I word it. There is a scene before a big battle where like a bunch of the characters, a lot of secondary characters are all there, like a whole bunch of them, are like saying, oh, man, we may never ever see each other again, but you know, we're doing our part for the cause. You know, we will fight together one last time, and you know, hopefully some of us will survive, but you know, we will never all see each other again. Every single one of them survived! Sorry. Making the scene completely pointless! No, okay, I'm not going to start a Game of Thrones rant. Right, shut up, Veggie. Right. Game of Thrones for the first, like, I think the first 5 series was immaculate, and then I started to see the writing on the wall. But by the end, my God. In my opinion, I know that some people loved the ending, and so ignore me. But that scene is... That bothers me. Sorry. Right. Enough about Game of Thrones. Sorry, guys. I'm lost now. It being a recurring theme. Okay, I'm gonna be looking up for this, Camilla. That's very interesting about luck being a major part of how they get through things. I wonder if Rupert Grint was told to be very over the top in the spider scene. He really was. Adding some comedy to it so that it wouldn't be too scary for kids. You're 100% on the money. I'm sure that's why they did this. Because it definitely is terrifying. It really is. It's terrifying for me. I think you're absolutely on the money. I think that if they played it straight, it would be absolutely terrifying. Whereas the fact that we're kind of meant to be laughing at Ron would keep kids at least in their seats rather than running out of the cinema. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. One final thing. I love how Ginny is more included in the story, in her story hinting at throughout the book. Absolutely. Even right before she's taken, she tries to tell Harry. It makes the reveal better, like something instantly clicks with the reader. Exactly, and then you want to read it again to see all the moments. Absolutely. The movie would have no trouble with including Ginny in more scenes. So I don't know why they decided not to. I'm wondering if it's because the actress was so young. She was like much younger than the rest of them, right? I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. Time is always going to be an issue. Maybe they just really, really didn't want to seed it like they did in the book. But it's better in the book, though. The fact that you do have those payoff moments, it is definitely better. Great comment. Thank you very much. It's a damn thing. Oh my goodness. There's so many things I would love to talk about. The Mandrake party. Fudge's outfit. We did talk about that. Being carried by spiders. Absolutely. But I'll try and rein my thoughts in a bit. The first thing that stands out the most is that Harry seems a lot more afraid in the book than he does in the movie, which I appreciate. Yes, Harry is a very brave person, but he's also only 12 years old. He's allowed to be terrified. I completely agree with that. It's a dance thing. The fact that we have internal dialogue helps that a lot, but you watch the scenes and sometimes Harry's just like, where Ron's like, that's the best Ron impression I can do. Yeah, and again, that's not a criticism of the actors at all. I think the actors were fantastic throughout all the movies, quite frankly. Yeah. Because I have since heard that some people see Harry as being a boring character, and I think that those people must be movie exclusive watchers. Because Harry in the book ain't boring at all, guys. I don't think Harry in the movies was particularly boring, but you go back to watch my Prisoner of Azkaban reaction, and when he finds out that oh no, Severus is his godparent. And his acting in that scene and the dialogue in that scene, and quite frankly, the cinematography in that scene where you have friggin' Ron standing away. Oh, it's beautiful, guys. Where Harry's like, I think he's like sitting down, like crying, and Hermione's up next to him. I think she's holding his hand or something, and then Ron is standing away, not knowing what to do. It's beautiful, beautiful scene in the snow. At that moment, I think I'd literally say I had no idea that Harry was this. I don't think I said interesting, but I think I used the term blank canvas, and that's what I get from his portrayal in the first two movies. The fact that there's nothing really that he is the hero of the story, and that's kind of it. You know, we don't have any of his mischievousness, or the fact that the fact that Draco lives rent free in his head. All those things getting taken out, or not being portrayed, and not being able to because there's no internal dialogue, does make the character feel so much more blander. You're absolutely right, it's another thing. It also just occurred to me, if Harry and Ron hadn't stolen the car at the beginning of the book, they would not have survived the forest and the oh my goodness, Acromantilus? Yeah, but would they have been there though? That's the thing. Would they have been there? Because, maybe something else would have happened if they got to Hogwarts later because they weren't able to take the car. Yeah, it's impossible to know. It's impossible to know. They probably would have been, to be fair. The car literally saved their lives. Literally, yes. I know it was a big issue with a lot of people about how bad it was for them to steal the car. But if they hadn't, this book and series would have been a lot shorter. My goodness, imagine if it ended like that. Wow, that would book 2 end. Yeah, very good point. It's a damn thing. Oh, guys, ridiculous that I'm tearing up talking about a scene, guys. But that shot of Ron standing away from Harry and Hermione, not knowing what to do. Just Prisoner of Azkaban is a beautifully made movie, guys. It really is. I haven't ranked them yet, but I do think that my favourites are Deathly Hallows Part 2 and Prisoner of Azkaban. But, that being said, I can say this unequivocally that Princess of Azkaban is a better made movie than Deathly Hallows Part 2. I need to rank them. Either way. Love that scene. I love that scene, if you can't guess. Jacqueline. I think the fact that Ron went into the forest to talk to Aragog really highlights why he is a Gryffindor. It's so brave for a 13-year-old who's arachnophobic to willingly face his greatest fear like that. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of your question, your comment, Jacqueline. Also, if I were Hagrid, I'd be furious at Aragog for setting his kids on Harry and Ron. Not only because A, he would have been freed, but more importantly, he wouldn't have been freed. But more importantly, B, he specifically sent them there because he trusted that Aragog wouldn't harm them. Hagrid is Hagrid, though, Jacqueline. I know, I'm completely with you. But Hagrid, it's like Buttbeak, you know? He just doesn't see the danger in things. And when the danger happens, actually, better example with, oh, who is it? It's Norbert, isn't it? That's biting the heck out of Ron. In the book, that is. And Hagrid is, like, reprimanding Ron. So, Hagrid, if he found out that had happened, that would be it for Hagrid. He would just shut down. Oh, man, how sad that would be if he found out that's what happened to Ron and Harry. This is a dark conversation, guys, but it really is. He would just completely shut down. I don't think there'd be any anger at anyone. I think that would... Oh, man, it's such a sad way to think about how hard that would have been for Hagrid to deal with that information. He wouldn't be able to. So sad. Luckily, Harry and Ron were right. And Fang. I feel so bad for Ginny in the story because I know how much keeping a diary helped me as a kid, and then I have it turn on me and almost kill me. Very good point. Imagine that's something she struggled with for the rest of her life. Jacqueline, that is a very good point. Now, I've never had a diary, guys. My dyslexia was such that reading and writing was something, unfortunately, for me to avoid, because it was very, very difficult for me, and also because of experiences, humiliating at times as well. Which is why I am so happy that I am doing book reviews on this channel now, which is just, who would have thought that, seriously. So I don't really know about keeping a diary, but it's true that betrayal or something where it's like, you know, something that only she should ever know about. And it almost blooming kills her. Very good point. Very good point, Jacqueline. Rebecca. Reading the book this time round, it really struck me how foolish Hermione's behaviour was before the Quidditch match. I think I know what you're going to say. She clearly guessed that Slytherin's monster is when Harry hears the voice, and just needs to confirm it. Yet, she goes running off alone, despite knowing the monster is nearby. I didn't say it, Rebecca. I'm with you. I'm with you. She was very, very, very lucky she didn't encounter the basilisk until she'd left the library and acquired the mirror. You're right. You're right, Rebecca. I think I did make a note saying Hermione runs off by herself. I didn't really reference it much when we were doing the chapters earlier on today. I really appreciate the way that Snape reacts to the news that the students have been taken to the chamber. How he grasps tightly at the back of a chair as though to steady himself. It's true. Yeah, it says that everyone reacts differently. I think that Flitwick just breaks down in tears, in fact. But yeah, it says how Snape just like. And you reckon that he's steadying himself, very possibly. To me, it really shows that despite how spiteful he can be sometimes, underneath it is all. He is so much better than the rest of the Slytherins. Particularly the Malfoys, oh absolutely, who have all been delighted with recent events.
Again, I feel like Draco is knowing that he's annoying people at that point, where he's like saying, I hope it kills someone next. I genuinely think that he doesn't actually think that. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's a small detail, but it shows that Snape does actually care what happens to the students, no matter their blood status. Absolutely, and we know that's the case in other moments in the movies as well. One moment which I know that a lot of I got a lot of comments is how he basically gets in front of the students, I should say, when in Prisoner of Azkaban when Lupin changes, which is not too far away now. Pardon me. Can't wait to meet Book Lupin. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's gonna be amazing. Okay. Pardon me. Also, Lockhart's got to be really tired of being knocked over by the Expelliarmus spell by now. Lol. Very true. And like I say, I'm 99% sure that scene where I'm pretty sure that in the movie they do not use Expelliarmus on him. In his office. I'm sorry if I'm wrong there. Oh man, is it Slimer? I think it's Slimer. Slimmer? Slimer. I'm not sure. Such a shame we didn't get to see the triumphant Hufflepuff victory in Quidditch. Couldn't agree more. Don't worry, Slimmer. Maybe next book. Sorry. Given Ginny has more lucid moments and the way mind control works in universe, what do you think of the possibility that Ginny fights Riddle or otherwise unconsciously prevents the basilisk killing? I like that a lot. Because let's be frank here, guys. Everyone that's been has been frozen, apart from nearly hitting his neck, has been lucky as balls. Like, incredibly lucky. So maybe... Oh, man. Maybe! I really like that. I've never even given it a second thought, but maybe Ginny is subconsciously fighting the basilisk from looking directly at people. Oh, man. I like it. I like it a lot. Dumbledore's awareness of Harry and Ron's presence is less impressive in the books. The 2 cups of boiling water are just sitting there. Very good point. Now, in the movie, Hagrid is pouring at least 1 cup. Now, it does have the coffee or tea in it. I think it's coffee, in fact. But he starts to overflow it because he's so nervous. But that's a very good point about the cups of boiling water. Spiders, that's still impressive, though. Quite Sherlock Holmesy of Dumbledore. Spiders can't... and also he looks at them as well. Man. Spiders can't shut their eyes and have 360 vision. Have I jumped forward here? No. Spiders can't shut their eyes and have 360 vision, I think. It makes sense they'd be terrified of a creature. Yes! I was thinking about maybe it's the number of eyes. Creature that kills by looking at... looking in the eye. That's very true. I was actually kind of thinking maybe that was the connection because of how many eyes spiders have. Very good point. Thank you very much for your comment. Daniel, can't wait to hear your absolutely fair and impartial comment. Eddie, oh no! After his courageous apology. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was such a logical thing that he did. And non-Hufflepuffs would have been... let's not go and apologise then. It's like imagine a scene where Harry goes to Snape at the end of Philosopher's Stone and like says, "Oh yeah, by the way, sorry about assuming it was you." Ernie doesn't need to apologise at this point. He can just think, "Oh, okay, that was a bit awkward. Let's just move on, and now I can trust Harry again." He doesn't. He apologises. And I know I'm making a bigger thing than I should be about this, guys, but I really like Ernie. We need some more Ernie. Who would have thought I'd like Ernie so much, guys? I like it more than Justin. I really like Ernie. I hope we get plenty more Ernie action in the future. And, of course, Hannah. Blah, blah, blah. I always found the whole Percy being suspicious thing interesting because it seems so implausible that he's the heir of Slytherin, yet Rowling added so many clues. And the whole thing, Percy being suspicious thing, interesting because it seems so implausible that he's the heir of Slytherin, yet Rowling added so many clues. Even really vague ones like Percy acting weird at the Burrow and being the potential diary thief. Oh, I see what you mean! Since he saw the diary when Draco took it. Oh my goodness, Daniel, that is genius! Oh, okay, I'll say now, guys. I mean, obviously, I'm reading the book after I know who the heir of Slytherin actually is. So book readers are getting... Percy's a massive red herring in the book. I didn't give that a second's thought, Daniel. Genius. That's fantastic. What a great comment, Daniel. That's... So reading the book, not knowing who it's going to be, Percy really looks suspicious, especially when he says that she walked in on me doing something. My brain just got shook. That's amazing. Okay, let's carry on with the comment. I wonder how many people actually thought it was Percy when they first read the books. I kind of want to believe she just made a bunch of characters suspicious. Lockhart, Hagrid, Percy, Dobby, to throw off everyone who was expecting another Krill type twist. Oh my goodness, guys. I need to reread these chapters again. I'm loving this. I also love how you can see Rowling... Is it Rowling or Rollings? I thought it was Rollings. Rowling. Maybe it is. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're right. To plant more seeds for the future, like mentioning the Azkaban Guard, Hermione signing up for every class, and hinting at Fudge's true character. Fantastic. Daniel, well done. What a great comment. That thing about Percy has blown my mind, quite frankly. It really has. Because he's even acting suspicious at the Burrow, like you say. Oh my goodness. Well done. Thank you very much for your comment. Gary, who I will not say the name wrong anymore. Ah, Mandrake sentient. Here comes the discussion. They are apparently throwing parties and moving through each other's pots. If Professor Sprout really just gonna chop them up and feed them to the petrified people, well, I would imagine. I mean, we're not going to get into this, but I'd imagine that most of the people that are petrified are not vegan, so they probably do eat meat. And obviously, animals are sentient, unless I don't know what the word sentient means. I think I know what the mean sentient means. It just means aware of your surroundings, right? Is there a tiny chance that mandrakes are a type of plant that has had a spell put on them? Because that would be a workaround. Much in the same way that the paintings around Hogwarts are not sentient. They're not people. They're not ghosts, right? They're gifts, photographs in this universe are not alive, but they have characteristics. I feel like I'm getting all this wrong now. So is there a tiny, tiny chance that to make a mandrake, you take a dandrake, which is just a plant, and then put a man spell on it? The hell am I talking about? To make a mandrake is a dandrake which has had a spell put on it. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That would get around it. That would get around the morality of it. Also, what do you think of Dumbledore's cryptic message? I clearly got it completely wrong. You will find that I will only truly have left this school when none here are loyal to me. And you will also find help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. You will find that I will only truly have left this school when none here are loyal to me. I noticed that Max put that in the blurb as well, that sentence. I mean, it sounds like a Force ghost, really, doesn't it? Obi-Wan Kenobi style, I should say that. It feels like a Force ghost kind of thing. I'm not sure, Gary. I clearly didn't pay that line enough. Never mind when I was listening to it. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure. Great comment. Thank you very much, Gary. Sarah. Or Sarah, is it? I'm sorry. Harry getting advice on electives from Percy is pretty cool. The advice Percy gives is actually really sensible, and I like that he doesn't push his own opinion, but gives examples of what could help for different careers and types of people. Also, apparently Percy recommended divination. I really like that scene, Sarah. I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I think it's Sarah, isn't it? I did get a comment. I think I got a few comments actually saying, "Wow, you really like Percy that much, really?" It's because you know what it is. Because he is such a unfleshed out character in the movie, even in Order of the Phoenix. So having scenes like where it's him and Harry, and he's really, because we had it in a previous chapter where, like, you know, he's always like this with Harry whenever Ron's around. But when it was just Harry, he's like, "Hey, Harry, how you doing?" Maybe it's because of the Quidditch results, I'm not sure, but I don't think it is because of the Quidditch results. I think that Percy's a really nice guy. But whenever his family's around, he's making sure that they're going to, you know, stay in line because their notoriety, you know, gets rubbed up on him, maybe. So yeah, I really like that scene. I felt so bad for Ron and Fang in the Aragog chapter. Oh, absolutely. Especially Fang, who was so excited to go for a walk with the boys. It's true, said how excited he was when he turned up. That didn't last long, did it? I'm not that squeamish around spiders, but I've read the illustrated version, oh my goodness, of the book, and the Aragog chapter has so many spider illustrations, including a full 2-page spread of nothing but spiders. No thank you. That it makes me even me uncomfortable. My goodness. Yeah, I can see that, Sarah. I mean, I don't think you had to be scared of spiders to be terrified of scenes like that from Harry Potter and other movie series, which I've also covered. I was not happy in those scenes. Right? So, thank you very much for your comments. How are we going? I think we've got quite a few to get through today. Oh my goodness, we do. Okay. Which is a good thing. Which is a very good thing. Like I say, this is my favourite part of doing these. H! The Fudge chapter. I love how the seeds are planted for future conflicts about a politician who cares more about things, how things are perceived, than about what is the right thing to do. Absolutely. Had to be seen to be doing something. Well, the first book mainly was about the magic in the world. In the second book, we start to get further into the problems like racism, lying politicians, etc. Absolutely. I mean, it's the blood thing, isn't it? And I would add to that how Slytherin are seen in general as well. You know, maybe... Because I know even Hagrid has said in the first book, no famous Slytherin ever was a good thing or something like that. I can't remember. But Lee Jordan saying that we should kick all the Slytherins out. There's something bad about it, guys. And, you know, it comes into this whole, you know, discrimination thing. It does. Unfortunately, in Harry Potter, you know, it seems to always be the case that discrimination seems to always pay off as being right. You know what I mean? Which is why a lot of people, including myself, are hoping that the character that is in Hogwarts Legacy isn't going to be a heel. I don't think he is. But saying we should get rid of all Slytherins is, yeah, it's food for thought, and it shows the difficulties of this world, which is exactly the point that you're making. I like how McGonagall gets emotional after what Harry said about visiting Hermione in the hospital wing. I love that as well. It makes me feel... Harry... I don't know, it's bad. Oh, he had to do it, he had to do it. I'm sure we'd all like to hear your view on what you think Ginny spotted Percy doing. I'm glad you did that face, H, because I was worried that I'm the only one thinking this. But, going back to Daniel's blooming theory that he said earlier on, that could be something... Oh, man. Yeah, I think I know what he's doing. Let's leave it right there. Thank you very much for your comment. I'm still worried that I've got a dirty mind, and I'm glad you did that face, seriously. Anna-Marie. Okay, so I know it wasn't super important to the storyline, but I really wish we could have seen the Mandrake party. It would have been a great extra scene. I also kind of like the idea that mandrakes are actually descended from an alien plant that Groot comes from, and they are just a different species. Oh my goodness, oh, that would be an interesting crossover. Oh my goodness, the Potterverse and the Marvelverse, what do they call it? I can't remember. I know Groot. I've seen... not Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I've seen not Galaxy Quest. It's something Galaxy, right? Guardians of the Galaxy. Galaxy Quest, very good movie, guys. Alan Rickman as well. Oh my goodness. What is it that he says? You will be avenged. Oh, that is a beautifully threaded in thing that he's got. Alan Rickman's Snape actors. I highly recommend watching Galaxy Quest. It is a really funny movie, but my god, it has some emotional moments in it. And there's a line that Alan Rickman, who is an actor in it, has to keep saying. It's like, by something's hammer, by something's hammer, you will be avenged. And it pays off beautifully. But yeah, go and watch Galaxy Quest if you haven't. You probably have. If you haven't, definitely go. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Don't look up anything up about it. Just watch the movie. It's a good movie. And Alan Rickman's great in it. Right, I'm so sorry. Oh yes, the Groot comment. Yes, but I have seen Guardians of the Galaxy, but the vast majority of Marvel movies I've not seen. So eventually we do need to get to those. Daisy. It's interesting that in the first two books, the two characters who in danger betray Harry are Quirrell and Lockhart, both Ravenclaws. Oh, rather than Slytherins. I think their houses were revealed on Pottermore. Yes. I don't think the book or the movie ever confirmed that Quirrell was Ravenclaw, but I feel like it maybe even said in the book. The movie version definitely shows a young Lockhart riding a broom whilst wearing a Ravenclaw outfit. I feel like it mentions that in the book as well when Harry's having to do the addresses, the envelopes. Maybe it doesn't. But yeah, a lot of this stuff would be confirmed on the Pottermore. Other than Flitwick, again, another Ravenclaw, we don't have any examples of trustworthy Ravenclaws at this point in the story. Oh yeah, at this point, sure. I think the house system is questioned a lot more in the later books. Oh, Brilliant. Just because people have certain defining traits doesn't mean their wants, motivations, and life experiences are the same. Absolutely. Thank you for the great videos, Daisy. That is a great comment. I'm really looking forward to hearing that more about about the houses and everything. And it is what I was saying just now about slivering. You can't get rid of all sliverings. Quite frankly, a lot of kids with bad upbringings would then be slotted into sliverings. So even if they are the type of kid that would be in slivering, doesn't mean that they're a bad person or deserve to be treated like bad people. Oh man, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that, Daisy. Thank you very much. Max, now. This is Max's comment, but this is actually from Aaron. So how you doing, Aaron? Looking forward to this. That's 2 Gryffindor, not including the ghosts. 1 Ravenclaw and 1 Hufflepuff. This is exactly what we're talking about Lee Jordan. I think that is interesting because the movie doesn't say it, and none came from slivering. Aaron, so true. Now in the movie, there's no Ravenclaws, right? Because that scene where Hermione has been petrified, she's the only one. Now in the movie, I can kind of see why they'd want to do that, just so that the scene is even more impactful. As it is a very distressing moment in the movie. But the fact that we have the Ravenclaw getting caught at the same time does really give Lee Jordan ammunition to think, yes, this is a slivering thing, because the sliverings aren't getting attacked. So that is a fantastic point that you made there. Absolutely. And you know what? I really like the fact that Hermione tried to help or get help from Penelope as well. I'm looking forward to meeting Pumpkin Pasty, guys. We need some more we need some more Ravenclaw in this. We really do. And I'm glad that we got Penelope's name. Again, I hope I'm saying it right. I think it's Penelope. I think it's Penelope. Yeah, let's just go with Penelope. I'm sure it is. Because even when we were covering the chapters a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, we didn't even hear anything about this character. She's now come back again, and so I'm glad that we did get some more. Aaron, thank you very much for your comment. Greatly appreciated. Christina. I find it a bit hard to understand why the moment Harry and Ron hear McGonagall's tell what happened to Jenny. Oh yeah, I don't know why I said it. You clearly said tell. It's my dyslexia, I'm sorry. Tell what happened to Jenny. They don't burst out the cupboard and tell the teachers everything they have just discovered about the monster in the chamber. You know what, Christina? When going through my notes just now, I was thinking to myself, actually, why wouldn't they do that? Let's finish this paragraph. Yes, they are probably in shock, but for once, I actually find the movie version more plausible here, where they head off after Lockhart immediately, instead of sitting helplessly in the common room for a few hours and not telling anyone about the precious information they have about where Ginny could be right now. That's very true. That's the difference between the book and the movie, isn't it? That's why they're like action stations, whereas in the book they're just completely deflated. If they were to come out of the cupboard, would they listen to them? They would. They absolutely would, and you know why? You know why they would listen to them? For the same reason why McGonagall went to find Harry and Ron to take them to the hospital wing to show what had happened to Hermione. For that same reason, and she said, does this mirror mean anything to you? So she's grasping at straws and is asking, because she believes in Harry, but she believes that Harry may know more information. So yeah, I think she would have. You're right. But Harry does have a thing where he doesn't trust adults, doesn't he? And it's not just McGonagall who's there. Snape's there. Lockhart's there for a bit. I think you made a very good point there, Christina. I can't completely see why they weren't, especially with that information burning a hole in their pocket, as is the case in the book. Also, I always wonder what the other teachers were doing in the meantime. I know, this is why in the movie scene where it looks like McGonagall and Snape are about to burst out laughing when Lockhart leaves, it seems so odd. It says that they got him out from under their feet, though. They all knew that Lockhart was no use. They were already incredibly lucky that until this point, students had only just been petrified for a few days, months. But apart from being like, maybe we'll consider closing the school when the monster seems to have fully actually killed someone. We don't hear about a lot of effort from the teachers side. They don't even bother explaining the petrified people properly, or supposed. For any hints about the attack, actually that's true. Well, I mean, McGonagall does say, well, soon enough we'll know who it is because they'll know. I think it's McGonagall who said that. They don't even bother explaining because then. Hang on, I'm messing up. Because of the attacker. Because then they would have found the note in Hermione's hand and made the connection to what it meant. Very true. I'm so happy you will soon be reading Prisoner of Azkaban, which is such a great book and movie, as you know. Absolutely, Christine. I couldn't agree more. Great comment. I don't... Maybe the news about Ginny hit them so bad that they actually felt guilty. I don't know why they'd feel guilty. I think you make a brilliant point. Thank you so much, Christina. Great comment. And I got that at the end of the Philosopher's Stone, like thinking, well, what's everyone doing, you know, at the crux of that as well. Jonas! Also known as Methanoutput, which I can never read properly, but yes, Jonas. Jonas is easy. Let's just have a quick look. Not I'm in a rush at all. I just want to know how many comments we got. Oh my goodness, guys, this is fantastic. So many comments. But we are approaching the end-ish. Jonas, I feel the feelings from Harry and Ron are portrayed way better in the book, in my opinion. Couldn't agree more. When Ron hears about Ginny and just drops to the floor, that hits me right in the heart. The first time reading that part, I completely agree. That rhymed as well. Also, the fear from Harry shaking with his entire body and not being sure if he comes back when he leaves Ron behind and goes to the actual chamber is also missing in the movie. I completely agree. And the fact that he can't even say the sentence, if I'm not back in an hour, then powerful. Sorry. But it might have been too scary for children, yeah, if they see, and Harry is also very scared. Very true, Jonas, and that goes back to the spider scene as well. The spider comment about Harry looking hilariously scared. You can't have hilariously scared at the end of the movie, guys. Maybe it is because of that. Maybe just to keep the certificate down. Maybe like the people who do the certificate said, okay, you need to change certain parts of this. Very possibly. Are you doing 2 chapters and the final thoughts in the next review, or will you start Prisoner of Azkaban in the next book? It will be final thoughts, so it'll be 2 chapters and then final thoughts. That's actually what we did in the first book as well, and then Prisoner of Azkaban. Looking forward to it. Hope you're doing good, Veggie. As always, can't wait to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much, Jonas. I always really appreciate your comments as well. Howa. As a Professor Snape fan, I have noticed. I have noticed. I love the scene where all the other teachers back him up against Gilderoy Lockhart. It's true, he is the first one to step up, isn't he? That's such a badass moment for Snape. I also love the little detail of Professor Snape gripping the back of the chair very hard when he hears about Ginny. Given how composed and reserved he normally is, letting his emotions show in this way means he must be really upset. Absolutely. It's another little hint to his real character behind this mean persona. Just like when his first instinct was to take care of the affected students when Harry made Goyle's cauldron explode. Yep, yeah, very true. I really like how you pointed that out in the last video. Thank you very much, Hawaii. Yeah, that was, and that showed that I wasn't seeing the real Snape. Even me, who knows the whole story, I was taken aback by the fact that his first thing was, okay, everyone queue up if you need help. Let's do this, and then he starts the threats. Professor Snape's priority number 1 is the safety of students, so I think he probably saw Ginny's presumed death as his personal failure. Again, yeah, I completely agree, and also I feel like Harry gets that as well, guys. I really do. Brilliant comment, Hoa. Thank you so much. Also, Snape sneezing. We haven't had any comments about Snape sneezing at the same time as Ron swearing it, guys. Very interesting. I want to know your thoughts about that. Dara, as a huge fan of the teachers, Snape will always be my number 1, but I also love Book McGonagall. Same here, same here. I wonder what you think about the other teachers' reactions to Gilderoy. I mean, you literally taste the dislike. Taste the dislike, I like that term. Much more than in the film. You get all the usual reactions to him before. Yeah, like I say, it's not just McGonagall and Snape in the book, it's Sprout and Flitwick who are saying it. And at the end, it says that Gilderoy is looking at basically a wall of stony faces. There's no smirking. The smirking really changes the meaning of that scene in the movie. Also, so far, what do you think of the teachers? Did you get new impressions of? Did you get new impressions of any teachers, or any thoughts? So excited! Thank you very much for your comment, Dara. McGonagall, I definitely prefer. I in my head, I don't see Maggie Smith, and that's not Maggie Smith's a fantastic actress. But in my head, I do have a different looking teacher now. Because she's different. She's very different, and she's definitely not to be messed with as a teacher more than she is in the movie. I could see the movie McGonagall letting Harry, Ron, and Hermione off a lot more than Book McGonagall, and I like that about Book McGonagall. Flitwick, we're definitely getting more about, and I'd like to see more. Obviously, he's like a very not nervous, but he gets embarrassed a lot. It seemed, and also he's a lot more emotional. He starts crying when he finds out about Ginny. More Sprout is awesome, particularly her stuff with Lockhart, which is just golden. That's some of my favourite stuff in this book. Who else? I know it doesn't count, but Filch's stuff in the books has been fantastic as well. Yeah, it's been a treat. It really has been a treat. And you know what? The teachers are some of the best things about this entire series. They really are. Thank you very much for your comments. Jake, I always wondered why Harry didn't say to Aragog, if you don't let us go, Hagrid will stay in prison, or something. As he told him about Hagrid being in trouble at the beginning, and Aragog clearly still cared about him. I mean, maybe because he's terrified. I mean, that might be a reason, but that would be a very smart thing to say. Aragog says, I can't deny when it so willingly comes in. Yeah, so saying something like that probably would have actually worked. Very true, Jake. I understand Harry being scared in the moment, but it just seems like he didn't try very hard to save himself, Fang or his best friend, from the scary man-eating spiders. When talking himself out of the situation is usually his forte. Very true. Maybe if Aragog had threatened to take away house points, he would have spoken up. Oh my goodness, Jake, that is you are spitting fire there. That's amazing. That's a great comment. Maybe he was just really confident that the car was going to show up. But yeah, that's hilarious. He would have done it if house points were at risk. That is amazing. Also, I wonder how Lockhart expected his reputation to survive once the wizarding world learned he had abandoned the school in the moment of peril. Not like he couldn't obliterate the entirety of Hogwarts into forgetting he legged it. I appreciate the term legged it. I'm guessing you were English, Jake. Or British, I should say, sorry. Maybe he didn't. At that point, he sees, oh, balls, they all expect me to do something. Okay, let's, what are they telling it? Fight or flight? Let's just get out of here. Let's just get out of it, regroup, work out something. Because he's clearly stressed when Harry and Ron talking to him in his room. Maybe he's not even thinking about that aspect. But Harry and Ron turning up at that point was a wall stopping him from escaping. So at that point, all he wanted to do was escape. Him going to use Obliviate on Harry and Ron is, I don't think, trying to save his career. Hence why he basically tells them his fiendish plan. It's not him to try and keep his career safe. It's to get them out of the way so he can escape. And so at that point, I don't think he's thinking about his career at all at that point. That's just my opinion, though. Oh, that's it! Jake, thank you very much for your comment. I do appreciate he legged it. That's great. Let's have a quick look. Oh, we're getting there. Loving so many comments, guys. I feel like the book club's going to be over an hour long on its own this time. My goodness. Katic! I don't know why I'm shouting so loud. I absolutely love the courage Ron is showing by going into the forest, even though he's scared senseless. He is the embodiment of courage. Is not the absence of fear, etc. The idea of a true Gryffindor here. Completely true. And his comical portrayal does hinder that a bit in the movie, but I'll say this, he is also quite funny in the book as well, where he's going, oh no, oh no, oh no, and Harry tells him to shut up. It's true. I don't think that Ron gets enough credit for his bravery, in fact. I mean, he clearly does from you guys. On the other hand, it's frustrating me every single time reading these chapters that Harry and Ron didn't go to McGonagall with what they found out about the Basilisk and Myrtle, as they were initially planning to. I see how hearing about Ginny must have shocked them, but it should have been more of a reason to tell McGonagall. Even later in the evening, Ron's idea is to go to Lockhart was plainly stupid. That's a fair point. That is a fair point. Because Ron, more than anyone, hasn't trusted Lockhart. But they go to him. Maybe they fell for what McGonagall and the other teachers were doing to Lockhart as well? No, because they overheard them say about him getting out from under their feet. Yeah, you're right, Katic. I can't at this moment think of any reason why they wouldn't have just gone to McGonagall instead. Even later in the evening, Ron's idea to go to Lockhart was plainly stupid. They knew full well he was useless, and they even heard the teachers remark about Lockhart left the staff room, that they sent him to look for the chamber only to get him out of the way. How on earth did they think it was better idea to go to him instead of the other teachers? I guess it shows the 12-year-old boy's thinking, but still, I think you're onto something here, Katic. Anyways, this is my first time contributing to the book club. Thank you very much. Loving the videos. Keep up the great work. Greetings from Ireland. Thank you very much, Katic. That's very, very kind of you. I think you're onto something there. I can't at this moment. Whenever I get a comment, I like to try and play devil's advocate and try and work out a reasoning. maybe it's because Ron and Harry's emotions are so out of control. I guess because the other teachers are presumably going to make sure that all the other students are safe and not getting attacked at that point. And Gilderoy is the only one who's been tasked with the go and find the chamber task. And Harry and Ron, like you say, are 12, and Harry and Ron are emotionally broken at this point. Would all those things add up to them thinking, let's trust in the guy because he is the one being tasked, even sarcastically, with finding the chamber? That's all I got. That's all I got. Either way, thank you for the comment. That's greatly appreciated. I'm so sorry it took me so long to get around to the video. Tammy, unlike the movie, we actually... Sorry, guys. Sorry, Tammy. Unlike the movie, we actually get a good explanation of how the system with the school subjects at Hogwarts works. I think that this can be confusing for people who haven't read the books, especially when watching the third movie. So obviously we have mandatory subjects: charms, transfigurations, potions, herbology, and defense against dark arts. Absolutely. History of magic and astronomy. Astronomy as well. Also flying, but can be dropped in the second year. Really? So there must be a lot of wizards and witches who can't really fly well. Very interesting. As for, unless you're really good at flying, so you just don't need to do it anymore. I guess that's also an option. As for the optional subjects starting in the third year, there are divination, Muggle studies, care for magic creatures, ancient runes, and Arthmancy, something to do with magical properties and numbers. Oh, which one would you pick? Oh, out of those, it would be caring for magical creatures, I'm pretty sure. Muggle studies because it would be easy. It's gotta be magical creatures. It's gotta be. I'd find that fascinating. Yeah, that would absolutely be fun. Which one would you choose? Let me know. We got to know what Lucius Malfoy was doing at Hogwarts as well. He is one of the 12 governors, a member of the school board. Also, what do you make of Percy's reaction to the third attack and when Ginny wanted to say something about the chamber to Ron and Harry? Third attack. When Hermione got hit, yeah? About him, yeah, but I remember that he was shook because he didn't think that prefects would be affected, and so I think he's been great in this book. I really do. When it comes to Ginny's one as well, he just like completely shuts down and like he doesn't want to be with his family at that point. It's very interesting. Again, potentially hinting at him being. Yeah, oh my goodness, that comment has blown my mind. Wanted to say something. Percy's reaction to the future, and when Ginny wanted to say something to Ron and Harry. Yeah, it really does set Percy up as being a villain, doesn't it? Potentially being a villain, a red herring. Fascinating. Thank you very much for your comment, Tammy. Lizette, I'm so sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. I find Fudge's reaction to Dumbledore's suspension very interesting. There's almost devotional confidence in Dumbledore's abilities, certain that removing Dumbledore would be the worst decision possible. At the same time, we get the first glimpse of his incompetence, arresting Hagrid without proof. That's it. Well, it's just to be seen to be doing something. And Ron had another proud moment as he was the one who realizes where the entrance to the chamber was. Oh, very true. I just adore how much you love. You love. I just adore how much you love are giving the Weasley family. Oh, absolutely. They're amazing. Especially the older Weasley brothers. They have truly been neglected in the movies. They really have. Percy the most. I remember when he showed up looking all mean in Order of the Phoenix. I was like, hang on, is that Percy? And at that point, considering how much he would have known Harry and everything, that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the case. I shouldn't be confused that Percy's there. Looking forward to hearing more about him in the future. I really am. Thank you so much for your wonderful comment. The Eagle. I really like how the book shows how nearly everyone in the school is really nervous after Dumbledore has left. It really shows what an impact his absence has, and it is something you don't really get to feel in the movie. It's true. It's because they go straight off to the spiders, isn't it? Straight away afterwards. I also like the little detail that Ron just chucks Lockhart's wand out the window. Yes, absolutely. And it kind of feels like a personal insult to Lockhart. That's true. That he'd rather throw it away than keep it and use it for himself. Oh, very true. And I'm all here for that. That's amazing, Diego. That's true. There's no interest in Lockhart's wand. Just chucks it out the window. Presumably it's still there. Yeah, because he's forgotten he's a wizard. Wizard, right? That one's still there, guys. When it's floating down the Thames or something. Amazing. Great comment. Annette. These 3 chapters are adapted fairly well in the movie, despite some changes. I completely agree. They miss out Ernie Macmillan's apology to Harry after Hermione is petrified. It's true. Slipping away from Lockhart because he's too lazy to do his job and escort the students from class to class. And Harry and Ron each figuring out a piece of the puzzle for the chamber. Absolutely. Just small things, really, but they give the books and the characters more depth. Well, there is definitely a thing where moments are taken away from Ron in the movie, isn't there? But yeah, he is the one who works out the tap and everything and says about using parcel tongue and everything. Yeah, it's so true. I think these chapters have been well done. I really do in the movies, but the reading the chapters has been awesome, quite frankly, to have everything fleshed out so much more. Thank you very much for your comments. Last 4 comments, guys. I swear that Fia has been last one before. Maybe. Q. We don't have time for your games. Sorry, guys. There was a Star Trek pinball game that I used to play on as a kid, and every now and then you'd hear Picard's voice go, Q. Oh no, it's not Picard. It's I always thought it was Picard, but then I played it recently and it's not. It's Riker saying, Q, we don't have time for your games. Not talking about you, Q. Sorry, Q. Right. Ron, aren't there supposed to be werewolves in the forest? My boy, unless you're going in at full moon, why would that be an issue? Good point. Very good. Yeah, good point, Q. One of the first hints at what the wizarding world thinks of werewolves, that they'd believe that A, people who turn into vicious animals once a month who live full time in the woods, and B, they'd choose the forest right next to the school full of vulnerable children. Well, you got to remember what happens to Lupin. Because even though he had his tablets and everything, and could avoid the full moon and everything, he says his job at Hogwarts is untenable now because you can't tell. I think he says that parents that there is a werewolf running the classes. This is one of the things which I really love about Lupin, guys. To the fact that he's a forever cursed, I guess is the best way of putting it, character, and where most people aren't going to accept him. And that goes into why Ron may have said that then. Granted, there may be 1 or 2 werewolves who would do that, but come on. It's true, Q, but this could be going back into what we were saying about... oh man, what's the term? What's the term? It's been a long book club, guys. Oh my goodness. the different types of prejudice. There we go, prejudice about people. And Ron, having been brought up in the Wizarding world, would probably have this thing about werewolves, regardless if they've changed or not. Very good point. Very good point, Q. Harry and Ron definitely should have told McGonagall about the chamber like they'd originally planned. But to be fair, they tried telling McGonagall what was happening last year and it didn't go so well. It's true. I don't blame McGonagall, but Harry has a strong distrust of authority, especially if it's broken of any kind of rule. He expects to be punished and ignored again. Given how he grew up, I think that is we can understand why. I really like that cue. That's what I say, because even in my movie reactions, I think it was Prisoner of Azkaban. No, it wasn't. It was Chamber of Secrets, where I was getting comments from people saying you have to remember that Harry doesn't trust adults, and put in different ways. And so that would absolutely configure with that. Great comment, Q. Thank you very much. Maria. I just want to say rest in peace to Robbie Coltrane, a magnificent actor and our beloved Hagrid. Thank you very much, Maria. Very sweet comment. Aria. Not this Aria. This Aria spelled with a Y. Oh God. No, don't fall over. There we go. Finally caught up with the book reviews. I'm already said I can't just queue up the next one. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, Ari. And I had to wait, lol. Well, the best things are worth the wait. Exactly like Guinness. I've been paying a lot of attention to the professors on this reread, and I feel so terrible for Professor McGonagall. She faces an impossible situation and has to feel the pressure of filling in Dumbledore's shoes in such a crisis. Absolutely. She must feel completely overwhelmed, but she still leads admirably. She's brilliant. And this is stuff which we just don't get in the movie, you know? And we know Snape is a good actor, but it must have taken a lot of effort not to let his anger show when Draco disparages Dumbledore in front of him and suggests he should apply for the headmaster. Very true. Very true. And when Seamus is pretending to throw up into his cauldron. What I'd give to hear the internal monologue at that point. Finally, I absolutely adore the professor gleefully jumping in to smack down to Lockhart in the staff room. Absolutely. There's such a unit, and it's such a nice light-hearted moment in the middle of such a dark chapter. That's actually very true. It is like a little bit of brevity, isn't it? And the fact that they're teaming up against Lockhart. It's not just McGonagall and Snape like it was in the movie. Thank you very much, Aria, for your wonderful comment. And I really like that post. Anyway, I don't post my video thumbnails, guys. Like I don't like go and then film myself and then cut it out. My posts are always from the video. There's one time where I post for one, and it was really embarrassing, and so I try to avoid. No, I don't try to avoid it. I avoid doing it. Anyway, Thea. I really like McGonagall in these chapters because she can see that despite her strictness, she has also a good heart and feels sorry for Harry and Ron's loss. Absolutely. Allowing them to visit Hermione in the hospital wing is a wonderful moment. What I really admire in all the Potter books is how smoothly the puzzle pieces fall into place in the end. All the questions and all the hints finally get resolved satisfyingly. Absolutely. As always, thanks for your thoughts and keep up the great work. Greetings from Germany. Thank you much, Fia. I greatly appreciate your comments. They're always great. Everyone's comments are always great, guys. I've thoroughly enjoyed doing these book reviews. Oh, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, guys. If you're not on the Patreon, you can check out Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We're nearly approaching the end of the first series, and that's excellent. So much better than I was expecting it, guys. Really enjoying it. My personal favourite right now is probably Xander. I think he's great. Anyway. This was great, guys. I thoroughly enjoy the book club. This has been an hour and 17 minutes of just the book club. That is insane. So I'm going to get this processed as quickly as possible and uploaded, and hopefully get it to you soon. And on to the next one, guys. If you are on the Patreon, look out for one of these. I keep doing that. One of these posts in the next couple of days for the final chapters of Chamber of Secrets. And then we're on to Prisoner of Azkaban, guys. Either way, love every single one of you. Remember to say your the sausage replacing quote thing in the comments. R.I.P. Robbie Coltrane. And that's all I got to say. Guys, Stone Cold said so. I ignore me. Please subscribe, all the good stuff. I'm VeggieKnights, and I'll see you next time.